त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमस्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। ॐ वृषभं चर्षणीनां विश्वरूपमदाभ्यं बृहस्पतिं वरेण्यम् ॐ तद्विष्णोः परमं पदं सदा पश्यन्ति सूरयः दिवीव चक्षुराततम् ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं क्लीं ह्सौः जगत्प्रसूत्यै नमः। Everybody say after me, Hare Rama Krishna 3 times. Om Hare Rama Krishna, Hare Rama Krishna, Hare Rama Krishna. Okay. Telugu. You got Telugu in this chapter, right? For me? You got Telugu also in this? Yeah. I have all these languages. No? The version that you have, I gave to all of you, that also does have. It does. Yeah. Okay. Can you do this? Yeah. Should I make it bigger? Okay. I'm sorry for the delay. I'm still in California time. So I got up very late. I got up just at 8 o'clock and I quickly got ready and came. And it's an hour away from here. I had to drive for an hour, so that's why I'm late. Okay. I'm in Boston time, but I think you are in January hangover. Being awake too late. Yeah. Okay. What were we doing in the last class? Which chart did we leave any chart in the middle? Your chart? We finished. Okay. So anybody wants to volunteer a chart for today's class? Next week. First come first. Absolutely. Yeah. Any chart basically that you tried, where you are confused or where you are not sure, that will be a good candidate for the group to take a look at it together. So go ahead. Give the data. January 21st, 1970. 10:50 p.m. Palakollu. Okay. India. Okay. So the data is January 21st, 1970, 10:50 p.m. Palakollu, India. The longitude and latitude are 81 east 44, 16 north 32, and the time zone is 5 hours 30 minutes east of GMT. Okay. So, can we have the name or will it be anonymous? Lakshmi Reddy. Okay. Lakshmi Reddy. Okay. Okay. You want to look at her Navamsa. Okay. Did you rectify this chart before?
I thought 1047 makes more sense.
You thought 1047 makes more sense. Why? Based on the Samsa. Okay, so based on the Samsa, you thought 1047 makes more sense. Can we look at that? Even though you are more interested in Navamsa, basically I want the class to look at all the things that you looked at and see if it makes sense to them also. So let's look at the Dasamsa. So with the time that is given 10:50, the Lagna in Dasamsa is Scorpio, and you are saying that 1047 makes more sense. Let's see. So basically 2 minutes 6 seconds earlier, Lagna changes sign in the Dasamsa chart. It becomes Libra. So you thought that Libra made more sense than Scorpio. Can we know why? Did you use any event or any information about series? Pardon me?
First job.
Okay.
She joined November 95.
First job she joined November 95. First job now 1995. Okay.
She worked as a computer consultant.
Worked as a computer consultant. Okay. So now, did she have a change of career later, or was she always in computers?
No, she changed the job in December 2001.
That 2001 change job.
She has been working as a
Yeah.
program executive in a TV channel.
As a what?
Program executive. She produces and directs TV programs.
Okay, program executive. Okay, I see.
TV channel.
Okay, producing and directing TV programs
In India.
in India. Okay.
So she is in India right now.
She's in India. Okay. Okay. So since December 2001, she has been in this job. And before that, she had a continuous career from 95 to December 2001. Was she in Okay, so basically, she was almost continuously. She was a computer consultant in software or hardware. Software. So she was a computer consultant into computer software, basically computer software engineer. And then she had a change of line into media, basically. Okay. So, which is the planet? What are the planets that you expect in her Artha Trikona? In her second, sixth, and 10th house? What is the planet first? What is the planet for software? Mercury. Mercury, more than Rahu, Ketu. Rahu is for heavy machinery and more for hardware rather than software. So Mercury and Ketu are the planets that you would expect, influencing her second house, sixth house, or 10th house. So very stronger. And secondly, what is the planet for media, producing and directing programs? Why? Why Venus? Yeah. Okay. What is the difference? Venus basically is the dancing girl. Venus, that's why Venus shows entertainment. But what is the difference between an actor and a producer or director and a photographer? Would you expect all of them to have all the careers to be shown by Venus?
Sun also.
Sun is king. If you look at all the planets, Sun is basically the king of the universe.
Most creative people are more.
Moon shows creativity, that is true, just like Venus. But when you are talking, pardon me? Okay, we are basically covering all the planets. See, Saturn. Ideally, even actors have to be disciplined. Everybody has to be disciplined. Just because a particular job needs discipline, you can't just say that it is a Saturnine job. Saturnine jobs are those in which discipline is the only thing. There is not really much. The main focus of the job is discipline, hard work, ability to labor. Those kind of jobs are shown by Saturn. So those are mean jobs, hard jobs, laborious jobs. These are the jobs. Usually jobs in the lower rung of the society are shown by Saturn, because in those jobs the only thing you care about is discipline, get the job done. On the other hand, if you look at Venus, for example, Venus is the dancing girl. Venus is it's basically show. So if you look at an actor or an actress horoscope, you will find a strong Venus in the 10th house. We saw a couple of charts in the past. We saw Tom Hanks, Dasamsa. We saw the Dasamsa. Pardon me? Yes, Aishwarya Rai. So in those Dasamsas, we saw Venus playing a strong role in the Artha Trikonas. So these people are basically like dancing girls, analogous to that. It's not that all of them are dancing girls. Tom Hanks is certainly not a dancing girl. Aishwarya Rai, even she is not exactly a dancing girl. But these are, if you remember these metaphors, or if you remember these correlations, Sun shows king, Moon shows minister, Mercury shows prince, or a scholar in the court of the king, Jupiter shows a priest, or Raj Purohit, Venus shows a dancing girl, Saturn shows the workers. If you look at this analogy, basically, you will be able to understand what kind of work these different planets represent. So Venus is basically like a dancing girl. So Venus can show somebody who works hard. Somebody who entertains others, who deals with beauty, deals with creativity and entertains others. But so in the chart of a director, a film director or a TV program director, you may find a Venus, but that is not really the important thing. The important thing is, what does a TV producer do? What does a TV director do? The program director do?
Create something, everything together, team together.
Yeah. Is the job of directing a TV show and producing a TV show, is that similar to writing a play, writing something? Is it similar to journalism, writing a novel? Is there something common between the two?
There is some level of common.
And who is the planet for that, for writing, for journalism? Mercury is the planet of communication. Mercury is the planet of scholarship. And Mercury is the planet of putting thoughts together. Putting your thoughts or putting some imagination together in a readable form. Venus is the poet, but Mercury is the author. Mercury is the writer. If you look at all the planets, Venus is called Kavi. If you look at the 108 names of Venus, one of the names is Kavi. He's the poet. So Venus also represents writing, but that writing is poetic. There is some creativity there. It's not straightforward. It's not to be taken literally. There is some translation from the language of imagination to the language of what you see and what you feel. So that is Venus. The writing represented by Venus is at a higher level. But the writing represented by Mercury is prose. It is more of communication, direct communication, than creating something. The creativity represented by Mercury is that of communicating ideas, presenting things. Things basically in a solid form. See, if you look at Venus, he is Jala-tattva planet. He is a watery planet. On the other hand, if you look at Mercury, what is his tattva? What is the tattva Mercury represents? Ati, right? So that is Bhutattva planet. Ati nature means solid. It has a clear form. So the writing and creativity represented by Mercury has a clear form. On the other hand, that represented by Venus, it can fit into a form, but it is fluid. It doesn't have a clear shape by itself. Similarly, if you look at poetry, it doesn't have a solid form. It is basically fluid in form. It can fit any form. If you read a poem, what exactly it means, what exactly the author of the poem is communicating, it's not always clear. You can basically interpret it differently based on where you come from, how you think, how you approach it. So, poetry is Venusian and it is of fluid nature, but prose, if you read a novel or if you read a story or if you read a newspaper story, a news story, or if you read a TV story, all these things are represented more by Mercury than by Venus. These are more solid in form than poetry. So here, if you are looking at the chart of a TV producer, can you expect a strong Mercury in the 10th house? Because his job is to communicate with people and to design the show, to design what should go, how things will be put together, to give a form to the show, and then make sure that that form is achieved. So, with the rectification that you have done, if you move ascendant to Libra, Mercury will be in the 10th house. That can explain both software career as well as it can also explain some kind of journalistic or media career. Basically, Mercury is the planet of media. Remember this. The planet of media is not Venus. Media is always shown by Mercury. So, if you have Mercury in the 10th house, it can be a career in media also. I also have Mercury in my 10th house, but I'm not really into media. Even though I write astrology books and other things, I'm not basically a media person. So Mercury in the 10th house doesn't necessarily mean media. It can be just software. It can be mathematics. That person can be a mathematician. He can be a logician. So there are various possibilities, but media is certainly one of them. And especially here, who are the planets having influence on Mercury? Who are the planets having Argala on Mercury? Can you find that? If you look at highlight Rasis having Argala on this Rasi. So if I highlight the Rasis having Argala on Mercury, Rahu in Leo has an Argala and Sun and Venus have an Argala. So what does that mean? What does Rahu represent? Research, digging deep, that is what Rahu represents. He also represents illusion, creating an illusion. If you look at, especially, not necessarily in the charts of directors, but if you look at the charts of photographers, cinematographers, you will see a strong Rahu in the 10th house. Rahu is the planet for creating an illusion. If you are a cinematographer, or if you are a photographer, you are creating something that looks like something else. You are basically creating an illusion. And Rahu is the planet of illusion. Similarly, if you look at magic, magicians, you will see a strong Rahu. Rahu is the planet of illusion. Whether it is magic or whether it is photography or whether it is cinema, whatever you are talking about. As long as there is an illusion, Rahu is the planet for creating it. And here, Rahu has an Argala on Mercury, and Venus, the planet of entertaining people, the planet of showbiz. That planet again has an Argala. So the career is mainly given by Mercury, but there is a Venusian influence and also solar influence. Solar influence. What does solar influence mean? What does Sun show? Sun is basically the king. And when Sun is having Argala on Mercury, the Mercurian job that the person does has a strand of management, basically, of accepting authority and telling people what to do. So because of the three, pardon me?
Does it show political?
It can also show political influences using political connection. Pardon me?
She is very interested in politics.
We'll come to that later. Whether she will succeed in politics or not, you can't really say just based on Sun's Argala on the 10th house. But you can certainly say that there will be some interest, and moreover, whatever she does, she is good at cultivating contacts and using those contacts in the work that she does. That is what you can say based on Sun's Argala on Mercury. So, overall, based on what we have seen, does everybody agree that the rectification that she has done makes sense? Do you think that Lagna in Dashamsa should be Libra rather than Scorpio? Are you fully convinced? Yes. Go ahead.
Argala is the 2, 4, 11 houses, right? Why is
5 is secondary Argala. The primary Argala is from the 2nd, 4th and 11th houses, from any house. But there is a secondary Argala which is given by the 5th house. And it is obstructed by the 9th house. So that is also there. And if you use the software, it gives you all of them together, all 2, 4, 11. Basically, the 2nd house Argala, what that shows is, second house is the Dhanasthana, the house of resources. So from any planet or any house, if you take the 2nd house, that shows what resources you need. What are the resources that will influence that particular matter? Right? If you take my Lagna, for example, the Argala on my Lagna is from my 2nd house. So it shows, Lagna shows who I am. And 2nd house shows what resources I have. So that Argala from the 2nd house on Lagna shows what is the impact of my resources on my existence. So that is the meaning of Dhanargala. It is also called Dhanargala. It shows not, Dhana doesn't necessarily mean money, it shows resources. It means resources. So the planets in the 2nd house, from any house, show the influences due to resources. Influences relating to resources. And the 4th house is called Sukhargala. The 4th house Argala. From any planet or house, if you take the 4th house, that also has an Argala, an intervention in the matters of this house. But there it's called Sukha Argala. That means Sukha means comfort. So it shows what gives comfort, what gives peace relating to this particular house. So it shows. So that is the meaning of Sukha Argala. And the 11th house Argala is Labha Argala. That shows what motivates. Labha is basically what motivates you. So that shows what motivates this particular house matter. So that is the motivation that works as a catalyst in influencing that particular house. And finally, fifth house. What is the meaning of fifth house? Abilities. So the Argala from the fifth house. If you look at my Lagna, the fifth house, my fifth house has Argala on my Lagna. So what is the meaning of that? My abilities have an influence on deciding who I am, what I do. Lagna is who I am and what I do. So my abilities have a role. So if you look at any planet or any house, the fifth house Argala shows the special abilities and aptitudes which have an influence on that particular matter. So if you look at the career of this person, pardon me?
What is that?
It is called Suta Argala. Yeah. Suta Argala, basically Putra, child. So if you look at Mercury here, Mercury is in the 10th house, showing some kind of Mercurian career in journalism or media or logic, mathematics, analysis, etc. And the Argala of Rahu on him shows, what does it show? The resources used in that mercurial career are of Rahu nature. So the resources used will be either heavy machines shown by Rahu, modern electronic machines, etc., or some kind of illusion equipment, etc. Or it could also be deception, cheating others, etc. All these will be used as resources in the career, in the Mercurian career. And the 11th house will show the motivation, but here there is no planet here. But if you look at the 5th house, the 5th house Argala has Venus and Sun. So those are the abilities. Venus is the ability to entertain. Sun is the ability to cultivate, the ability to create contacts, cultivate contacts and use those contacts. That is what Sun shows.
11th house Lord is Venus with having it.
Yeah, but houses that have no planets, they also have Argala, but those are very weak to influence.
Their Lord won't be the ruling factor.
Lord will not be a ruling factor. When we are talking about Argala, there is a house that has an Argala. If there is a planet in that house, then that house causes a significant influence on the matters of the house. But the Lord has no role to play. In the case of Argala, ignore the Lord of the house causing Argala. Only the planets there.
Actually, Moon is the person. Moon is the planet for contact, not the sun.
Moon is the planet for creating contacts, and Sun is the planet for using those contacts. If you have any contact, to go and tell that person, can you do this, can you do that? That is basically the job of the king. Sun is the king and Moon is minister. Both depend on channeling work to other people. Both Sun and Moon, both king and minister, they tell people what to do. They don't really do things by themselves. They just sit and relax. But at the level of Sun, there is more authority, more than Moon. Sun is the planet of authority. So if Sun has an Argala on the 10th house in any person's chart, you can basically say that that person's work has a lot of expression of influence and telling people what to do, commanding people, commanding authority. So that is what Sun shows. So these are the various influences on the career. Basically it's a Mercurian career, and these are the various influences. That's it.
Also, it's a secondary Argala is opposed by the 9th house.
Yeah.
In this case, the 9th house is Moon that actually is opposite this Argala comes from Moon.
Yeah.
Because when the Venus and Sun is stronger, so it's actually dominant, or do we ignore the opposition?
First of all, it's dominant. Whichever Argala and Virodha Argala, whichever is stronger will dominate. That is first principle. But the second principle is the Virodha Argala does function. And what is the meaning of this Virodha Argala? Let us look at that. What does Moon? Pardon me?
When that Dasa comes, there will be some.
Yes, exactly. Depending on the Dashas and Antardashas running, either Argala may dominate or Virodha Argala may dominate. But throughout the life, irrespective of Dashas, if you want to make a static judgment, the Argala will dominate in this case more than Virodha Argala, because there are two planets, Venus and Sun. On the other hand, Virodha Argala has Moon. But what is the meaning of that Virodha Argala? Moon is the 10th Lord in the 6th house. If the 10th Lord is in the 6th house, what does it mean?
There is a lot of obstacles in the career.
It can mean that, but Moon is quite strong. He is in a friendly house. Is Moon in a friendly house? Actually, is he in a friendly house or a very friendly house? Is he in a mitrasthana or adhimitrasthana?
Actually, he is friend to all. Right?
Pardon me?
Moon is friend to all.
Right, but the thing is, if you remember, in the beginning of these classes, I talked about three kind of friendships, three kind of relationships. One was permanent, the other one was temporary, and the mixture of the two was compound. So Jupiter is a friend, agreed. Now, based on the placement, is he a friend? What?
3 houses this side and that side. So ultimately,
Yes, 3 houses on each side. So planets in 3 houses, Moon is here. Planets in these houses, Aries, Taurus and Gemini, and also planets in Aquarius, Capricorn and Sagittarius. These are the temporary friends based on the current placement. So Jupiter is a temporary friend as well as permanent friend. So Jupiter ends up being Adhimitra in compound relationship. So Moon is in an Adhimitra sthana. So if the 10th Lord of one Artha Trikona is in another Artha Trikona and he is in Adhimitra sthana, it doesn't really show bad results. So the word that you use, obstacles, is not really right. But 6th house is the house of overcoming obstacles. So what does it mean? The planet is very well placed. The planet of career is very well placed. The person is?
Moon also is the opposite.
Pardon me?
You overcome all the obstacles.
He will overcome all the obstacles, but more than obstacles, it means working hard. The person is always, if you have a small obstacle and you easily overcome it, you have another small obstacle and you easily overcome it, you tend not to represent them as obstacles. You don't look at them as obstacles. Bottom line is, you are a workaholic. If somebody has 10th Lord in the 6th house in Dasamsa, they are likely to be alcoholic. Workaholic. They work hard. If you look at Tom Hanks, he has a very strong 6th house. If you look at more than 10th house, his 6th house is very strong. I'm not sure if 10th Lord is in 6th house, but his 6th Lord and Lagna Lord are in 6th house. And there are 3 or so planets in 6th house in his chart. So he's a workaholic. He may not have a lot of problems, but he's always overcoming problems. That means he's always creating problems and overcoming them. Whatever small problem comes up, he works hard to overcome it. He doesn't tell somebody else to do it. He does it, he gets involved and he does it himself. So here, Moon being in the 6th house, 10th Lord being in the 6th house shows somebody who works hard. Now, what is the meaning of that Moon having Virodhargala on Mercury? Venus and Sun, Sun's Argala shows telling people what to do. So, basically behaving like a king or queen. On the other hand, Moon here shows working hard, solving problems by herself. And because of this Argala, this Virodhargala, she commands influence, but that is marred to some extent by her eagerness to get involved in all the details and work hard and solve the problems herself. So rather than behaving like a king or queen, just sit back and relax and tell people what to do, she may get involved in all the details like a diligent minister, Moon in the 6th house, and solve the problems herself, get engaged in every small detail. So that is the meaning of this Virod Argala. But Argala will dominate, except when the dasas are conducive to Moon. The Argalas will overall dominate. So she will channel a lot of work. Even though she will get involved to a large extent, she will still tell people what to do and have some authority and some influence in her workspace. Now, do you have any events? First of all, what is the dasha that we should use? Is it Vinshotri dasha or another dasha? Which dasha will give the best results? Do you have the Lagna Lord in 7th house or 7th Lord in Lagna? No. So Dusaptati Samadasha doesn't work. Sun in Lagna? No. So Shashi Samadasha doesn't work. And Lagna in Vargottama? No. So Satabdika Dasha won't work. And Lagna in Shukramsa, Taurus or Libra Amsa? No. So what is that Dasha? What is the Dasha if Lagna is in Dvadashotri? I think it's Dvadashotri if Lagna is in Shukramsa. Yeah, applicable if Lagna is in Venusian Amsa. Okay. So none of these dashas applies. And there are other dashas, but like we discussed earlier, those conditional dashas are not really conditional. They apply to half the people. So we can ignore them in favor of Vinshotri dasha unless one of the less common dashas is applicable. So let us use Vimshotri Dasha. Both are strong, so moon. By default, it's always moon. You use Lagna Vimshotri Dasha only when Lagna is really, really strong. Much stronger compared to moon. In mundane charts like New Year charts, lunar New Year charts or solar New Year charts, financial New Year charts, meteorological New Year charts, for all these various mundane charts, there you don't give any importance to moon. You give importance to both moon and Lagna. Whichever is stronger, you faithfully use that particular reference and find the Vimshotri Dasha. But in the case of human beings, moon is the karaka for human beings. So in the case of human beings, you give more importance to moon. So unless Lagna is much stronger, try to use only moon.
In that case, then the Rashi of the person is Gemini or what?
The Rashi is Gemini. The Janma Rashi is Gemini. Yeah, Mithun Rashi.
So, okay.
But the Lagna is Kanya Lagna. Always, whether Lagna is stronger or moon is stronger. When we say a person is Mithun Rashi person, we mean that moon is in Mithuna.
Okay.
Only moon's nakshatra is called Janma nakshatra and only moon's Rashi is called Janma Rashi. Okay? And when you look at transit results, etc., we basically go by moon. Even though other references like Lagna, Sun, Mars, all these have an importance of their own, as we will see in Ashtakavarga when we do Ashtakavarga later. Even though everything has a role, we basically give most importance to moon. So when you say somebody is Aries Rashi, you mean moon is in Aries. So now let us look at the dashas. So what is when did she join her career?
95.
First job in November 1995. Does it make any sense to you? Have you switched to an article mouse? So Mercury Dasha, Mercury Antardasha gave her career. She started her career. Does it make any sense to anybody?
The ninth lord in 10th house. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ninth law shows, basically ninth house shows Punya. It shows the blessings because of all the good that you have done in your past life.
Right.
So this is blessings not in marital life or in relationship to parents, etc. This is purely blessings as far as
Job is.
career is concerned, profession is concerned. So blessings in career are carried by Mercury and he is in the 10th house. So he is quite well placed. Ninth Lord being in the 10th house, he is quite well placed. So Mercury Dasha, Mercury Antardasha started her career. Just for the heck of it, let us check where Mercury is in the Dashamsha. He is in, that is interesting. Mercury is in Ishana Samsha. Venus, Sun. So three planets in Artha Trikonas are in Ishana Samsha, and another planet, Moon, the fourth planet in the Artha Trikonas, he is in Ananta Samsha. So many planets are in Ishana and Ananta Samsha. Had the planet in the 10th house not being Mercury but being Jupiter or Ketu, you would have expected this person to be a priest or basically in the religious line. You would expect this person to achieve something in the religious and spiritual arenas. That's what you would have expected. But the planets happen to be Venus, Moon, Mercury, etc. All the planets of creativity, analytical abilities, and organizational abilities, etc. So this person happened to be in TV, but otherwise, that makes very good sense. That makes very good sense. When you have so many planets in Artha Trikonas in Ishana Samsha, the religious line is very favorable for such a person. Even if they are in some other line, there will be streaks of religiosity and spirituality in the work of that person. Not that the person is really spiritual or not, I wouldn't say from the Samsha. How spiritual the person is, how religious the person is, whether they do puja every day or not, or whether they see the God within themselves and within other people or not, I won't see it from the Samsha. I would see it from D-20, Vimshamsha, and to some extent in Navamsha, because that is your dharma. The dharma within each person is basically the Vishnu within you. That is the pillar of your spirituality. So you will see the dharma from Navamsha and the spiritual rise from the Vimshamsha. So I won't see that from Dasamsha. Dasamsha is basically the karma that you do in the society. But Ishana and Ananta Samshas playing a strong role in Dasamsha means that the work that this person does in society has something to do with religion. So even if it hasn't happened until now, it may happen later. She may be engaged in some devotional activities, or if she is a writer, she may write on religious matters. So all these are possibilities. And if they didn't happen until now, they may happen in future. And you are saying that it's about to happen. So that makes very good sense.
It is up to 2011.
And overall, what is the nature? What is the overall nature of the person in karma? That you see from Lagna. Various planets you see their amshas, but Lagna is you, then person himself or herself. So if you look at the Lagna's amsha, that shows the overall approach of the person in professional matters. Here, Lagna is in Varuna amsha. What did we say about Varuna earlier? For me? Varuna is patiently handling a lot of people. Varuna is also relationships with a lot of people, engaging in, typically it could show business. People who deal with a lot of vendors, a lot of people, etc. People management basically, people management and people interfacing, and also business. In her chart, okay. So, is she a business person or a service person?
Service person.
Why?
6th house is just now it is.
Yeah.
6th house is strong moon and then more on house, 10th house.
Okay. So why is 6th house strong? Can you tell me? Because the 10th lord is in 6th house, one Artha Trikona lord is in another Artha Trikona, okay. Then 7th lord is Mars, he is in 3rd house, another Artha Trikona. Sorry, Kama Trikona, I'm sorry. 7th house is the center of the Kama Trikona, that is basically the desire, and 3rd house is the house of initiative. The 7th lord Mars is in the 3rd house, and Mars is a Karaka for the 3rd house. He is the Karaka for dynamism, initiative. So the planet who is Karaka for that is in that house. Mars is in the 3rd house. And 3rd house happens to be an Agni Rashi, a fiery sign. And if the house of initiative falls in a fiery sign, and a fiery planet is there, that is good. That shows fiery determination, strong determination. When this person wants to do something in her career, she will do it. That is the power represented by that Mars. And also, what is her image? Her image is decided more by Mars rather than Moon. More than her ability to work hard, more than being a workaholic. She is known as somebody who is very dharmic and somebody who gets things done. Because Mars is in Arudha Lagna. Arudha Lagna, AL, is your image, the status, how you are seen in your professional life by people working with you, by people around you, by people that know you through your work, how they see you. That is the Arudha Lagna in Dashamsa. So that is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius Arudha Lagna means people who are perceived to be dharmic, perceived to be righteous, perceived to be somewhat pious. And Mars in that Arudha Lagna, the 7th lord in the 3rd house being in Arudha Lagna, that shows somebody who is like a warrior, somebody who finishes what she embarks upon. So that is what Mars shows. So just because 6th house has one planet and 7th house is empty, you can't really conclude that the 6th house is stronger than 7th house. Because of Mars, the Kama Trikona is also strong. Just that one planet Mars is enough to elevate the Kama Trikona in this particular chart. So, while I would say that Artha Trikonas are quite strong, Kama Trikonas are almost equally strong.
Because she always parallelly does business. When she was a computer programmer, she had a company. And now she has a ad agency. Every time she has both jobs and business.
So she has an ad agency, you said?
Yeah, she has.
Okay, good. Okay. That makes very good sense. You have, and people who know her more as an entrepreneur, because Mars is an entrepreneur. Mars shows entrepreneurial spirit, especially when he is related to the 3rd or 7th house. Even if he is not, by default, Mars is the significator of enterprise. And when Mars is associated with the 3rd and 7th house, definitely he shows enterprise. And that Mars being in Arudha Lagna shows that deciding her image. That is her main image. People know her, people view her mainly as an entrepreneur, a person who is dynamic, who has that aggressive spirit of doing things. So, like I said, that single Mars is enough to make her take her in the direction of business also. Even when she doesn't have a business, what you can say based on this is, she will be very entrepreneurial. She will have that spirit of enterprise. She will be very dynamic, and she will have strong desires, and she will work towards achieving those desires. And what is the Amsa represented by Mars? Brahmamsa. What does Brahma represent? Out of the Dasha Dikpalakas, what is the direction represented by Brahma? Digging. Downward direction, adhodik. So what does Brahma show? He shows research, digging into details, and doing a lot of research and creating minute plans. That is what Brahma shows. So Mars, the planet who shows business and enterprise here, that planet is in Brahmamsa. So what kind of, when she decides to do a business, it's not like she knows some people and she decides, okay, I know these people, so because of these relationships, I can have a business, let me start a business. She is not the type who will just jump into it. She will do a lot of research, she will break down all the minute details, and she will have a clear plan, and then she will jump into it. That is what the seventh lord being in Varna's Amsa, not Varna, Brahma's Amsa shows. On the other hand, if you see seventh lord Mars in Agni's Amsa in somebody's chart, what would you conclude from that? What kind of businessman or businesswoman she would be?
Transformation.
Agni shows transformation of something, engineering, Ignis. So, if the seventh lord is in Agni's Amsa, the person thinks, oh, instead of doing this, if we do this and this and this, if we make a machine like this, or if we design a process like this, so and so things would be possible. So those people are basically creative people, creative engineers, who basically revolutionize something or who create something, who design something, and then they would jump into business. They will not see they will not break down minutely, they will not look at all the minute details of how to run the business. They just have an idea, they will jump into it. That is Agni. On the other hand, Brahma is very careful planning, excellent planning. That is what Brahma says. On the other hand, had the planet been in Niruti Samsa, what would we conclude? If had Mars been in Niruti Samsa here, what would be the result of that? Niruti, so basically some illegal or underground kind of activity. So somebody gives them an idea. If you do this, this is illegal, but you will not be caught. This way you will make a lot of money. Then they will say, cool, this sounds good. And then that will take them into business. That kind of business is possible. On the positive side, it can also be somebody who just comes up with a totally revolutionary idea, something that nobody can think of, something really weird, a very weird and untraditional idea. They just come up with that idea and they start a business. That is also possible with Niruti. So like this, based on which planets are involved, based on which Amsa or DT is involved with the planet that shows business, you can conclude what is the approach in business. Now, let us end the discussion on Dasamsa. And the Dasha also makes sense. Mritri Dasha, basically her career started. And as long as Mritri Dasha runs, her career will be fine. Does anybody think that Mritri Dasha will be bad for career? I mean, there can be some ups and downs, but overall, does everybody agree that Mritri Dasha is a good Dasha for career?
Yes.
Yes. If the 9th lord is in the 10th house, that shows, pardon me?
Also it's a 12th law.
Yes.
So it can give some rights.
What does 12th house stand for?
Laws.
Yeah. Laws are also giving things. Either giving up or giving things. Mercury is hemmed between two male fixes. Mercury has half Katri. Yes, excellent. Good point. Very good point. That is a good point. Mercury has Papakatar Yoga. Mercury is basically hemmed between Saturn and Rahu. So because of that Papakatar Yoga, basically if one planet is hemmed between two planets, it's as if those two planets are with that planet. They give results as if Saturn and Rahu were with Mercury in Cancer. That is how they would give the result. So it is bad. That affliction on Mercury is bad. But is it totally bad or is it okay? Do you think that will cause a big downfall in career? What houses do Saturn and Rahu own? Fifth house. Saturn owns 4th and 5th house is a Yogakaraka, and Rahu owns 5th house. So there is something special about Saturn and Rahu. They are the co-lords of the 5th house. They join Mercury, the 9th lord. If the 5th and 9th lords are together, any coming together of the 5th house and 9th house influences is a Maharaj Yoga, especially if Lagna Lord is strong. Parasara said that 5th and 9th lords being together, he actually did not say being together. 5th and 9th lords having an influence on each other, with Lagna Lord being strong, is a Maharaj Yoga. He did not even say Raj Yoga, he said Maharaj Yoga. So here, Saturn and Rahu, Kattari on Mercury, even though it's called a Pap Kattari, it basically brings results akin to that Maharaj Yoga in her career. So what you can, but however, bottom line is they are malefic. When there is Pap Kattari, we saw for example Swami Jayendra Saraswati's chart. His Lagna had Pap Kattari from Shani and Rahu. And we said that he ran Shani Dasha, Rahu Antardasha or vice versa, I forget. I think Shani Dasha, Rahu Antardasha in the last couple of years. So we said that he may have come under the influence of some wrong people. He may have, so a couple of wrong people may have come close to him, and he may have encouraged them or not discouraged them because he did not really know what was going on. So similarly,
she's right now in Rahu Antardasha.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. So right now, because she is running Rahu Antardasha right now, either in Rahu Antardasha or Shani Antardasha, she may either come under wrong influence, or she may come under the influence of some wrong people who will give great gains to her. On the ground level, it will be a good dasha for her. There will be a lot of gains because of the Raj Yoga. She will reach a very powerful position. But that reaching of the powerful position may involve some slightly wrong means or wrong people.
Rahu is in Dwarapada.
Pardon me?
Rahu.
Yeah.
A7. So,
Yeah. He's in Dwarapada and he's in A9. Yeah.
no, that wants to show that Rahu means people those who see.
Yes. Yes.
A7.
Rahu is the people that you associate, not Rahu. Dwarapada is the people that you associate with, the kind of relationship that you engage in. And that Pada has Rahu. So, overall, irrespective of Dasha, this person may have a tendency to associate in her career with some undesirable people. For example, Rahu can even show mafia. I'm not saying she's associated with mafia. I don't want to make such statement, but such possibility is there. Either mafia people or some kind of gunda, some kind of, pardon me? Undesirable people. Some kind of undesirable people. On the contrary, also it could be outcasts, people who are undesirable not because of their bad activities, but simply for some traditional reasons they are untraditional people and they are outcasts in the society. So association with those kind of people is certainly possible throughout her life. And particularly in this Antardasha, Rahu Antardasha, it is even more possible. And one word of caution that I want to give to this lady, your friend, is, if you look at the bhoga in Rahu Antardasha, Mercury Dasha, Rahu Antardasha, from Mercury, Rahu is in the second house. From Rahu, second house, if you take, that is in Valko, the 12th house. So the bhoga falls in the 12th house. If the bhoga falls in the 12th house, it is not good. Any Antardasha, if the bhoga of the Antardasha is in the 10th house, it means there can be some loss or some giving up in that particular Antardasha. So if she gives up something in favor of something else, that is good, because if she doesn't give up, something may be taken away from her. So some undesirable thing is possible in this Antardasha. Okay. But the thing is, Rahu himself is in the 11th house. So she will be working towards gains. And Rahu is in A7 also. So A7, apart from people that you associate with, it also shows businesses. So she may engage in business, she may engage in something that will make her desire be fulfilled. Because 7th house is desire, A7 is manifested desire. So there will be, her desires will manifest in a way that people can see. If you look at the 7th house from Lagna, it is your desire and it is intangible. But if you look at A7, that is how the desire manifests in a tangible way. So there can be a business or there can be some particular activity that people can see, which is a manifestation of her desire. So she will be working towards manifesting her desires. But what happens is the bhoga, what she is forced to experience. The paka, where the planet is, Antardasha planet is, that house shows where the activities are focused on. But the bhoga shows where the results are coming, what is being experienced. Bhoga means experience, the eaten one. Yes, Kiran?
Can we do this in Paka and Bhoga and so all the class has its own?
All Antardasha, yes.
Even can you do the same even in Narayana?
Yes. Yes, you can. But we haven't done Narayana Dasa until now, so you are jumping ahead.
What about the other nakshatra?
Yes, you can. You can. Basically, where the planet is where the focus is going. And where the bhoga is where the blessings are. Not blessings, but the fruits of that effort are coming. So that is the bhoga. So sometimes you may see the planet being in the 5th house, but there may be terrible results in that particular Antardasha. That is because the bhoga is somewhere else. And you may see that the same Antardasha in several dashas can give different results. For example, let us take Shani Rahu. When did it run? Okay, it ran before her career started. But assuming that it ran when her career... let us see Ketu Rahu. Ketu. From Ketu, Rahu is in the 7th house. From Rahu, if you take the 7th house, it falls in the 5th house. The bhoga will be in the 5th house. So when Ketu Dasha, Rahu Antardasha comes, which is long way, what do you expect her to experience? This is not the 5th house, which is recognition, recognition of the abilities, some fame, some name. So that is what you would expect in Ketu Rahu. But in Mercury Rahu, you would expect some kind of killing, some kind of loss. But what about the next Antardasha, Mercury Jupiter? Is it good or bad, first of all? He is debilitated. First of all, tell me, is Jupiter's debilitation good or bad? Good. I want a clear answer.
Good.
Why? Okay, first you. Why bad? In general, debilitation is bad? Okay.
It's not retrograde.
Okay, hold on to that thought. No. Pardon me?
3rd and 6th house Lord,
Yeah?
which is debilitated, is good.
Good. Excellent. If the 3rd and 6th Lord, if the 6th Lord or 8th Lord or 12th Lord, if the Dusthana Lords are debilitated, it is a blessing. It is part of Jaya Yoga, a yoga called Jaya Yoga. Jaya means victory. The victory combination is 6th Lord in debilitation and 10th Lord in exaltation. That is called Jaya Yoga. Basically, 10th Lord should be strong and 6th Lord should be weak. Then the yoga called Jaya Yoga occurs. Here, the 10th Lord is not exalted, Moon is not exalted, but he is in an Adhimitra Sthana. So it's akin to exaltation. And the 6th Lord is debilitated. So there is sort of has Jaya Yoga. It's not perfect Jaya Yoga, but an approximate Jaya Yoga exists in the chart. And because Jupiter takes part in that yoga, it is good. When you see the 6th Lord debilitated, don't think that it's bad. Don't have thumb rules that exaltation is good, debilitation is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. Thumb rules never work. Everything depends on the situation. So for the 6th Lord, debilitation is very good. So Jupiter is a good planet. And if you look at Mercury Jupiter, where does the bhoga come? Mercury Dasha, Jupiter Antardasha. It's in the 10th house. From Mercury, Jupiter is in the 7th house. From Jupiter, if you take the 7th house, it falls in Cancer, the 10th house. If the bhoga of an Antardasha in Dashamsha falls in the 10th house, it is very auspicious. 5th, 10th and Lagna and 9th. These are basically the trines, the 3 trines and 10th house. These are very auspicious. 10th house is the main house in the chart. Dashamsha is the focus on 10th house. So if the bhoga itself comes to 10th house, there will be some important developments in the career during the particular Antardasha. It's a very important Antardasha. If you look from a long-term perspective, if he looks back 20 years later at her career, this will be one of the Antardashas that stands out. Okay? Similarly, Mercury, where was the Bhoga? Mercury Dasha, Mercury Antardasha. Mercury Dasha, Mercury Antardasha, where was the Bhoga? Somebody has to tell me. Same 10th house. So it is also a very good Antardasha. And Mercury Dasha, Moon Antardasha, where was the Bhoga? Second house. Second house is the strongest Artha Trikona in this particular chart. Second house is the house of money, house of resources, and it has Venus and Sun. Basically the Lagna Lord is there and the Labha Lord is there, and it is the second house of money. So basically there is a nice Dhana Yoga in the Dasha as far as Dashansha is concerned, and the Bhoga is falling in that particular Antardasha. So what is experienced during this particular Antardasha, during the Mercury Dasha, Moon Antardasha, is having more resources, more Venusian and solar resources, and more money. Okay, that is interesting. There are several important Arudhas there. So Scorpio is a very important sign for her. So when the Bhoga of a particular Antardasha falls in Scorpio, there will be very important developments in the career. On the other hand, if you look at Mercury Venus, how is Mercury Venus? Okay, that is what. Okay, Mercury Venus, let us say. How is Mercury Venus? Venus is a good planet, definitely. But if you look at the Bhoga, what is experienced by her in 97-2000, it is in the 6th house. It's not very auspicious. But 6th house is a very good house here. So you won't expect big setbacks, but you would expect a lot of hard work, overcoming obstacles, and you won't expect important developments in career. You would expect just getting along and working hard. That is what you would expect in the Moon Antardasha in Mercury Dasha. Now let us go to Navamsa. That is what she was interested in.
When you did that, you only go to Dasha and Antardasha. You don't go to Dasha and Antardasha.
You can go all the way up to Deha Antardasha also.
Do those things matter when we decide this is where the Bhoga falls?
During those 2-year period, this is where Bhoga is falling. But within those 2 years, during a particular month, she may be very tense because her project is not finishing and deadline is coming up. During another next couple of months, she may be excited because project finished and the authorities, people above her told her, excellent job. And during the next 3 months, she may be very relaxed and she may get a nice idea and start a new project. But overall, when you look back after 5 years at this 2-year period, this may stand out as the period when she achieved something. See what I am saying? When you are looking at Dasha, you are looking at what happened in those 10 years or 20 years. So you can't really see each individual event from the Dasha. You see what is the overall theme during those 10 or 20 years. When you look at Antardasha, you are focusing on a 2-year or 1 year or 3-year period. So what is the focus during those 3 years, during those 2 years? That is what you see from the Antardasha. On this particular day, look at, for example, my chart. During this particular couple of hours, I am teaching you astrology. I am sharing my astrological knowledge, whatever little I know, with some people. And during the last few days, I was in the Southwest. I was at Grand Canyon, I was in Vegas, I was at the Valley of Fire, I was at Disneyland, I was at Universal Studios, I was having fun. I was seeing various places in the Southwest. So all these things, if you look at what happened during those 5 days, if you look at the Sukshma Antardasha or the Prana Antardasha during those 5 days, definitely there has to be something that shows having fun. And if you look at the Deha Antardasha during this particular day, during the first half of this day, there has to be something that shows why I am sharing some knowledge with you. So that influence has to be there. Every event happens because there is some trigger for it. But if you look at my whole 17 years of Mercury Dasha, which started in 94 and which will go on till 2011, do you think that going to Grand Canyon during a particular week or teaching astrology during a particular day, a particular half day, do you think it will show? It will not show. Even if you look at the current Antardasha that I am running, current 2.5 year Antardasha, it will not show. So based on the focus that you want, you choose whether you look at Antardasha or Prachantardasha or Sukshma Antardasha or Pranantardasha or Deha Antardasha. Do you see what I'm saying? Let us just see what I'm running right now. Let me open my chart. Okay. The data is April. Okay, somehow this data changed. Should be 7. Should be 8. The data is April 4, 1970, 5:47 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. The place is Machilipatnam, India, 81 East 8, 16 North 10. And I use my Vimshottari Dasha, that is, even though some other Dashas are applicable, like Horoscope Dasha, I use only Vimshottari Dasha and...
Language English.
Pardon me? Oh, okay. Right. What did I do? Okay. Now, what I do is, I don't know why, but in order to see what happens in my life at a minute level, somehow I have to change the dates by one day, 4 hours, 17 minutes. When I do that, then things make sense. All the things that happened in the last few years, all the minute events make sense in my own case. If I apply a correction of 1 day, 4 minutes, 17 seconds, I don't know why it has to be applied. There may be some small error in moon's longitude for some reasons that I don't know of yet. But I believe that the time that I have is accurate because I'm happy with various vargas, but just the dashas are inaccurate. So basically, when I want to use all the way up to Dehanta Dasha, I rectify the Lagna differently and moon differently, because there may be some differences. For example, I'm just giving a hypothetical argument. When we say moon's longitude, we take the center of gravity of moon. If moon is a disk, we take the center of that disk and you see the position of that particular point. But who knows? The spiritual center of moon may be slightly off. And if you look at the longitude of that spiritual center, if that is to be taken as the sputa of Chandra, maybe there is a small error in the longitude of moon that we are using. You see what I'm saying? There are a lot of things that we don't really know. We don't know why this particular physical moon shows mind. He represents mind. We don't really know. That may be because, pardon me? Start on it. But let us not go into the details, because I don't know the details. There may be some other factors. But when I shift the days, then things make very good sense. So let me do that. So when I subtract 1 day, 4 hours and 17 minutes, and let me say, and let me also change the calculations to current time zone. We are in 5 hours west time zone. Calculations will be identical, but when it shows the time, it basically converts the time to this time zone so that we don't have to do it manually. So that is what I did. Time zone is 5 hours west and the shift is 1 day, 4 hours, 17 minutes. And now let me look at look at an event. So right now, 10:32. So right now, what Prananta Dasha am I running? I am running Jupiter Prananta Dasha. But let me look at Dehanta Dasha actually. I meant to do Dehanta Dasha. Because even Prananta Dasha is slightly long. Okay. So right now, if you look at January 2nd, from 6 o'clock to 2 o'clock, I am running Rahu Dehanta Dasha in Jupiter Prananta Dasha. Now, if you look at my D-24, and if you see the bhoga, what is experienced in this Rahu Dehanta Dasha, where is the bhoga? It is in the 10th house. In some other Prananta Dasha, it may be something else. But if you look at the previous level and see the bhoga, within that Dehanta Dasha.
How do we compute that?
Okay.
Rahu is in
The current Prananta Dasha is Jupiter. And within that, when Rahu's Dehanta Dasha comes, from Jupiter, Rahu is in 7th house. From Rahu, take the 7th house. It is
So you just take
30.
the last two.
Previous, for Antardasha, you see from Mahadasha. For Pratyanta Dasha, you see from Antardasha. For Sukshmanta Dasha, you see from Pratyanta Dasha. And so on. So I looked at D-24 because we are talking about something relating to education or learning. It's not really education for either for you or for me, but this is basically relating to learning. So, as far as activities relating to learning are concerned, what do we experience right now? Some social activity, some activity in the society. 10th house is karma. So, this is a Pisces with Jupiter has the 10th house in my chart. So, overall, I will engage in lot of Piscean karma, lot of Jupiterian karma relating to learning. Pardon me?
Teacher.
Yes, it can show teaching also. I will be engaged in teaching. I will be engaged in studying astrology. So all those things are possible based on that particular Jupiter.
How do you know teaching is related to astrology?
Jupiter can show astrology or Vedic knowledge or Sanskrit knowledge, some traditional knowledge. If you see Jupiter in the 10th house, in somebody's Siddhamsa, they will not only learn, but they will engage in some activity relating to learning. Their learning will be useful in the society. 10th house is what you do in the society, right? If somebody has a strong Siddhamsa, he will be a very learned person. But for that person to spread that knowledge in the society, which is the house for spreading knowledge in society? 10th house is the house of karma. Of course, you can see in Dashamsa also. But if you see in Siddhamsa, you specifically know the activities relating to knowledge. So, in general, because the 10th house is Pisces and has a very strong Jupiter in his own house, in my Siddhamsa, whatever I learn, I will not keep quiet. I will not keep it to myself. I will engage in discussing that knowledge with people and studying that knowledge in the world. That is a standard thing in my natal Siddhamsa. And whenever Bhoga at any level falls in that particular house, you can basically conclude that during that particular time I may engage in such activities. So right now this is what you can say. And let us go back to
last Sunday.
pardon me? Yeah.
Last Sunday.
Not last Sunday. I want to focus on the whole period. So let us see. Okay, Mercury Sukshma Antardasa. This is from December 19 to January 5. And during this time, there was a 8-day period when I went on a vacation to the southwest and I had fun with the family. I spent a lot of time with my family, with my kids and my wife, and we went seeing a lot of places. So now, if you want to see, of course, during this period, how long is this period? 17 days, right?
Yeah.
So during these 17 days, going to southwest is not the only thing I did. I did several things. But that stands out as an important event during these 12 days, during these 17 days. So if you look at the Mercury Sukshma Antardasa in Jupiter Pratyantardasa, it has to stand out as an important event, right? So now, who wants to, do you see that in Siddhamsa? Where do you see that? Okay. I want you to come up with the divisional chart. Which divisional chart do you want to see? Pardon me? Rashi, okay? First see Rashi. That's fair because Rashi is the overall physical existence. So, what do you see? What do you see in Rashi? Jupiter Pratyantardasa and Mercury Sukshma Antardasa. What do you conclude? Pardon me?
Bhoga is in second house.
Yeah, Bhoga is in second house. So, what is experience?
Resources.
Yeah, and also being with the family. Second house is also the house of family. So, during this Sukshma Antardasa, I can spend more time with the family.
Also Venusian house.
Pardon me? Yeah, Venusian house. Yeah, good. That is enough. Now, leave that. See, for entertainment, having fun, Rashi is not really the chart. So, we'll go into that chart later. But just from the Rashi chart, let us see physically what is happening. And there is another hint that I will give you, which I haven't done so far. When you judge Mahadasha, Antardasha, Pratyantardasha, Sukshma Antardasha, Pranantardasha, and Deha Antardasha, there are specific references that should be given priority. For Mahadasha, Sun should be given priority. We have been doing all our analysis based on Lagna, but you can also look at Sun and mix those indications. Sun should be given importance at the Mahadasha level, Moon at the Antardasha level, Lagna at the next level, Pratyantardasha level. And then we come to the next three, Sukshma, Prana and Deha. Again, it will be Sun, Moon, Lagna, but at a different level, not exactly at the Sthula level. At the Sukshma level, we come to Sun, Moon, Lagna. Those happen to be Atmakaraka, Pranapada Lagna and Lagna. So when you judge the Sukshma Antardashas, you use the Atmakaraka, which is basically like Sun. Sun is the Sthula Atmakaraka and the Chara Atmakaraka is the Sukshma Atmakaraka. So you see where Atmakaraka is and take him as the reference. And then you see which houses become important. Pranapada Lagna. The one that is shown as PP in Jagannatha Hora. Pranapada Lagna. That is that shows how your pranas are. So that is the analogous of moon at the Sukshma level. And then for Dehantadasha, you use Lagna again. So, in Mercury's Sukshma Antardasha, if you see from Atmakaraka moon, my Atmakaraka is moon. He is Atmakaraka. If you want to see who is Atmakaraka, moon is the Atmakaraka, right? Moon is AK. And there is no Atmakaraka replacement. There is only one planet in 28 degrees. So, my Atmakaraka doesn't change in the course of life. Had there been another planet in 29th degree, it can change. But I have only one Atmakaraka, so moon is my Atmakaraka. And if you look from moon, Sukshma Antardasha Lord Mercury happens to be in the third house. So, third house shows initiative, travel. There are so many things. Spending time with siblings. There are so many indications. But one of the indications certainly is travel. So, during the Mercury Sukshma Antardasha, travel is possible. Now, coming to having fun. What is the chart for that? Is it Navamsa? Is Navamsa the chart of having fun?
Don't know that.
Pardon me?
Don't know.
Navamsa is basically dharma. Marital life, wife, relations with the wife, and then marital life. Excellent, excellent.
Happiness from vehicle, right?
No, pleasure.
It's generally pleasures. It's vehicles, pleasures, and sadness. Basically, Sukha Sukhanam, Vijnanam, I think, Vahananam Tathayavata. Sukha Sukhanam, Vijnanam, Vahananam Tathayavata. I think that is the line. So it shows Sukha, pleasure, and displeasure, as well as knowledge of vehicles. So, this is basically, like we discussed earlier, the divisional charts from 1 to 12 show physical existence, 13 through 24 show mental existence at the level of consciousness, mental and intellectual existence, and 25 through 36, that shows subconscious existence. So here, this is basically consciousness, the existence at the level of mind. And this is 4, 16 minus 12 is 4. So this shows fourth house. Fourth house is Sukha. So this shows comfort, but not at the physical level, but the mental concept of comfort. What gives happiness or sadness to the mind? What leaves the mind and what troubles the mind? So here, how is Mercury? Mercury is Antardasha. From Jupiter, if you see from Jupiter, Mercury is in 9th house. So if you see the 9th house for a Mercury, the Bhoga is in 7th house. Is 7th house a good house for having fun? I mean, for entertainment and enjoyment, what are the houses? Kama Trikona, 3, 7 and 11. These are the houses for enjoyment. And what are the Arudhapadas in Ketukan? Because when you are talking about Bhoga, you are talking about what is experienced. The experience. And when you are talking about experience, manifestation is the important thing. So Arudhas are important. So, what are the Arudhas in Ketukan? A3. What does A3 show? What is third house? Initiative, but when it comes to vehicles and pleasures, etc., it also shows travel. Third house is the house of travel. And A3 specifically is a particular trip. This is a manifestation. Yeah, short trip. So A3 is the third house shows traveling, which is basically again, ideally third house, the traveling shown by the third house should be intangible. Always houses show only intangible things. And the Arudhas of houses show tangible things. So a particular trip that I made, a particular, going to a particular place, seeing Grand Canyon or seeing this. That thing is shown by the Arudha of the third house. So A3 shows a particular trip, a particular vacation or a particular trip that somebody made. So because in Jupiter Prachanta Dasha, in Mercury Sukshmanta Dasha, the Bhoga fell in a Kamatrikona containing A3, there can be a trip and there can be enjoyment from that trip during that particular Antardasha. Does it make sense? And you, for example, you want to see Dashamsa. What happens in career during this time? What is the results that you can expect? Jupiter, from Jupiter, Mercury is in 5th house. From Mercury, if you take the 5th house, it is in Lagna. There are no Arudha Padas there. Pardon me? New beginning. Okay. Lagna does show new beginning, but or reinforcement of an old beginning. But if you say that every Sukshmanta Dasha there is a new beginning in career, that will be terrible. Basically, when the Antardasha, at the level of Dasha or Antardasha, you can conclude that there will be some new beginning. There can be a change of Java, there can be a change of line. But at the Sukshmanta Dasha level, don't say there will be a new beginning, because that will happen many times. Several times you will get the Jupiter Prachanta Dasha, Mercury Antardasha. Pardon me?
Some new projects.
That's possible. That's possible. I didn't really work on any new projects, but the fact that Bhoga is in Lagna means it is a good time in career. No, you don't have any big setbacks or, pardon me?
Relax, no tension, no pressure at all.
Well, Shani is there. In the Bhoga house, Shani is there. So there will be some hard work. But the Shani is in Lagna. He is not in 6th house or 8th house. So it's not, I wasn't working very hard, but there was basically nothing special at the workspace. But before the vacation, I had to finish certain things and make sure that things were in a stable state before I left. So that is shown by Shani in Lagna being in the Bhoga in this particular Sukshmanta Dasha. Okay? Now,
What's the next level of the Sukha? What is called?
Deha. After Sukshma it is called Deha. After Deha it is called Bhoga. Sorry, what am I talking? I'm talking nonsense. After Prachanta Dasha it is Sukshma Antardasha. Then it is Prana Antardasha. Then it is Deha Antardasha. Those are the names. Okay? Now, my Jupiter Prana Antardasha is getting over today afternoon. Actually, you know. And then Saturn starts.
Let's look at both Sukha and the other Dasha.
So, can somebody make a prediction for Saturn's Prana Antardasha?
Mercury and Saturn.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody make a prediction for my career. How my work will be during the next few days. What is the, first of all, okay, you are looking at the Bhoga? Okay. Where is the Bhoga? It is in 5th house. So what does it mean? What will I experience?
Some
Recognition. So recognition of ability. So that is what I will experience. And then the second thing is you judge that particular Antardasha from the particular reference. What is the reference for Prana Antardasha? I told you the references. Pranapada Lagna. Where is Pranapada Lagna in Dashamsa? And I have rectified. See, Pranapada Lagna changes much faster than Lagna. And when I rectified based on several events, I was convinced that Lagna as well as Pranapada Lagna in all the divisional charts that I use, which is up to D-24, in all the divisional charts is accurate. So that is why I am confident of that particular Lagna, that particular time. So Lagna is accurate, but still I had to change moon. So there is something else, like I said. So Pranapad Lagna in Dashamsa, take it to be accurate. Now go ahead and tell me.
So from Pranapad Lagna it's in 12th house.
Who is in the 12th house?
The Bhoga is in 12th
So
house.
forget the Bhoga. The Bhoga, which house it is, we see only from Lagna.
Okay.
But what house gets focused? Where the effort will be, what I will be doing, that you see from the placement and ownership of the planet from that particular reference.
Okay.
See, for example, in the Rashi chart, in Mercury Sukshmanta Dasha, we said that Mercury is in the 3rd house from Atmakaraka moon. Similarly, you should see where Saturn is from Pranapada Lagna. From Pranapada Lagna, Saturn is Lagna Lord in the 8th house. So, do you think that in the next few days, I'll be working very hard at my workplace? Very likely. Because Shani, the Pranantardasha Lord, is in 8th house from Pranapada Lagna. So 8th house Shani will give lot of hard work. Shani in the 8th means working hard throughout life. I mean, this is Shani in the 8th house from Lagna in the natal chart. And here from Pranapada Lagna, he is in the 8th house. So during that particular period, during those 3 days, I have to work very hard. And I can imagine that because there is a show called Consumer Electronics Show where we'll be showing a particular DVD, a high definition DVD player, and further some data has to be prepared. And they were working on that and there were some problems. So once I go there, I'll be basically working hard to fix the problem. So the Bhoga being in the 5th house shows some recognition of my ability, and Shani being in the 8th house shows having to work hard because of that recognition. So I'll be basically working hard for the next 3 days, and before January 5th, basically everything will be ready for the show, and I will hopefully be able to relax after that. So like this, you can you can look at. So all this came from your question. We can look at minute events. What happens during a 5-day period, or what happens during a 2-hour period. Like that, you can go up to it, but don't try it in your own chart because you have to have very accurate Pranapada Lagna. Lagna in Dashamsa changes once in every 10 minutes. Pranapada Lagna, I'm not sure how fast it changes, but it's basically seconds. Every few seconds it changes. Sign in Dashamsa. So that is the kind of accuracy that you need. You need your birth time to be accurate up to seconds in order to use Pranapada Lagna. And the Dasha calculation also may be wrong. Even when you rectify your time very accurately, the Dashas can still be off. And one possibility is, some people say that Vimshotri Dasha is not 120 years, but 120 years and 5 days. So this 1 day 4 hours that I have found, it may be basically 1/5 of the 5-day period, basically 1/4 or 1/5 of the 5-day period. And because all the events that I looked at are in the range of 25 years to 33 years of my age, which is around 1/4 of the 120-year period. That may be why the correction of 1 day has worked for most of these events. That is a possibility. I don't know if that is correct, but there may be, the correction may be different in your own case. If you are looking at your events, maybe based on your age or maybe based on some factor that I haven't understood yet, the correction may be different. But the bottom line is, Sanjay ji's grandfather, Sanjay ji is my guru, Pandit Sanjay Rath, and his grandfather Jagannatha Hora, he used to rectify Lagna and rectify moon separately, looking at events like when did this person travel, which direction did he travel on, what did he do this morning, what did he do this afternoon. Based on such minute events, he used to rectify Lagna and moon separately, and then he used to use that to make daily predictions, just using Vimshotri Dasha, not even using Narayana Dasha, just Vimshotri Dasha. So basically I took cue from his work, and I have done separate rectification of my moon apart from my Lagna, and I have done all this research just on my chart. I haven't done similar work on anybody else's chart because it's very laborious. It took me several days to do this. But once I did it, I could demonstrate any event. I could take 15 events. There was a workshop on Vimshotri Dasha during one whole weekend at New Jersey, New Jersey last year, and I presented 15 or 20 events from my life. And I went all the way up to Jagannatha Dasha. I explained, for example, when I got married, at what time I got married, at what time we went through rituals, at what time I actually had food. Because second last Jagannatha Dasha did not come until 1 o'clock or so, and I didn't have food until then. I had food after all the ceremonies were over, and then when I went home and slept. So like that, you can go up to our resolution. Everything will make perfect sense. But the bottom line is, everything has to be accurate. The Dasha calculations have to be absolutely accurate. The Lagna has to be absolutely accurate. So the purpose of showing this is to show you that there is some theory out there which does work, but it is very complicated. So don't try it right now. Just try up to Pratyanta Dasha. That will be enough. But the bottom line is, what I wanted to tell you is, you can go as minutely as you want to go, as precisely as you want to go. But it's not, but the thing is, Antardasha is sufficient if you want to see what happens in a 2-year period. During these 2 years, will there be a new beginning, or will there be setbacks, or will there be losses, or will there be fulfillment of desires? To see that, you just need Antardasha. So you choose Dasha or Antardasha or Pratyantardasha or something else based on the period that you want to focus on. You won't know everything that happens in that period, but you know the main theme of that period using that particular level of the Dashas. So now let us go to her Navamsa, because we are running out of time, and that is what she was interested in. So let us come to that. Now, is she married? So the time changes 4.5 minutes back, or 9.25 minutes forward. So assuming that the time is within 4 minutes, mostly this Navamsa Lagna is accurate, but there is some chance that it could be the previous one. It could be Taurus also, if the time is 4.5 minutes earlier. Because the previous analysis that we have done doesn't eliminate this possibility. So Lagna could be Taurus also. So let's consider both Gemini and Taurus, and let us see any events in Navamsa that she had.
March 7, 1993.
She got married March 7, 1993. March 7, 93, married. Okay. March 7, 93. Okay. Anybody thinks that this Dasha could have given marriage? Yeah? Do you think that this Lagna in Navamsa is accurate, or should it be Taurus? Who thinks this is accurate? Gemini Lagna makes sense for Guranta Dasha to give marriage. Only one person?
No, it's accurate.
Then raise your hand. Okay. Okay. So 4 people think that is right. So Shugaru, why don't you think Jupiter Dasha is not a good candidate for giving marriage? Because he's in the 8th house? Pardon me? Yeah, we discussed this earlier. He's in the 8th house, but his agenda is 7th house. He owns the 8th house. And yeah, but if the Lagna Lord is in 2nd house, he won't care. 2nd house is Markasthana, but Lagna Lord in 2nd house does never kill. So he doesn't kill marriage. Jupiter in the 7th house, his agenda is 7th house, and he is placed in the house that gives troubles to marriage. 8th house is basically the house of anxiety, house of tension. If you have the 7th Lord in 8th house, there may be some anxiety relating to marriage. There may be some problems, last minute problems, or some worry will be there. It will not be smooth. But we saw some other example also like that. Yeah, you were setting. But bottom line is, he is 7th Lord. If any other planet is in the 8th house, it will try to trouble the marriage or stop the marriage. But 7th Lord being in the 8th house, he will advance the agenda of 7th house. And he will use the resource. He will be exposed to the resources of the 8th house, which is basically anxiety and tension. But his agenda is 7th house, so he will fulfill that agenda. And moreover, notice which Arudha is there. I told you earlier, when you are judging Antardashas, at the level of Mahadashas, Sun is important, Satya is important. At the level of Antardashas, Moon is important, mind, perceptions. So Arudha Padas are very important when you judge Antardasha. The Antardasha Lord, whichever Arudhas he touches, or his Bhoga touches, they will be really activated during that time. So Jupiter is the 7th Lord in Rashi as well as, she has Lagna in Virgo and Jupiter in 2nd like me. For a moment I thought, I was looking at the Rashi and I thought, I didn't remove my chart. I'm looking at my chart, I thought. Okay. So Jupiter is actually I also got married in Shani Guru. I also have the same Jupiter in Rashi, but Navamsa is different.
Mahadasha also was almost close.
Yeah, exactly. A few months off. Yeah. Interesting. So, Jupiter being the 7th Lord in Rashi chart as well as Navamsa chart, and Jupiter being placed in Upada Lagna in the UL, in the Navamsa chart.
That's not what you, Upada, when you look at it, you always look at the Rashi.
No, we can look in both. Yeah. But Rashi is more important.
Physical plane.
Yeah, physical plane. That is basically what UL is the manifestation of your giving in the physical plane. And this is in Navamsa, if you look at UL, that is basically giving in the sphere of dharma. So that is basically how you and your wife together will fulfill dharma. Fulfill your dharma in society by doing dharmic activities, etc. Whereas UL in the Rashi chart, it shows physical compromises that you make, physical living together of as wife and husband. So Rashi is more important, but for some people Navamsa is more important than Rashi. For some people for whom marriage is basically dharma and less of physical relationship. So if you see the Antardasha, it makes pretty good sense. What is the Pratyantardasha? When did you say 93? March. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, he is Naisargikarka and he is exalted. He is exalted, but is that enough?
No.
Pardon me? He is combusted by sun. Is he? How close? Yeah, 7 degree, 49 and 7. Okay, he is combusted. So overall, when Venus Dasha comes, it's not a great Dasha because Venus has combustion. But if you look at the, pardon me? Yeah, exactly. In Navamsa, not in the Rashi chart. In the Navamsa, he is basically in a Kendra. He is the fifth lord. He is in a Kendra. And what does fifth house show? Ninth house shows past and fifth house shows future. Ninth house shows, basically fifth and ninth house both show blessings, right? The Trikonas show blessings from what you did in the past. But the difference between ninth and fifth house is ninth house is past and fifth house is future. So whenever you have the fifth lord in any divisional chart engaged, what it shows is, it shows some kind of, just like Lagna, it can show you a new beginning, or it can show something where the focus is on the future, because fifth house is the house of future, the ninth house is the house of past. And this is interesting, Lagna Lord is in the fifth house in Navamsa. In Rashi chart, Venus is in the fifth house. Was it an arranged marriage or love marriage? Arranged marriage, not a love marriage. No, okay. Normally, I would have expected when Venus is in the fifth house, but Dharpada is not there. But if Dharpada, Venus and fifth house are involved, usually it will be a love marriage.
She wanted to marry that kind of student.
So she had a love affair. Okay, that is. I wasn't sure if she would marry the person that she wanted to, but basically when Venus is in the fifth house, and also in Navamsa, Lagna Lord is in fifth house and fifth lord is exalted, usually such people are romantic and they tend to fall in love. So I wasn't sure if she would marry the person she loved or not, but I expected that there should be some love affair. It's not like, okay, mommy and daddy find me a person to marry, I'll marry him. That's not likely. When you see a link between fifth house, Venus and Dharpada, if you find any links between them in Rashi or Navamsa or both, then you can conclude that such a person is likely to fall in love. And here, Venus is in the fifth house, and he also owns Dharpada. He aspects Dharpada, and in Navamsa, Lagna Lord Mercury goes into the fifth house, and fifth lord Venus is exalted. Venus is basically the fifth lord. So Venus is associated with fifth house and Dharpada in Rashi, and fifth house in Navamsa, and Lagna Lord is in fifth house in Navamsa. So based on all these reasons, I basically expected that she would fall in love.
So much she said that lady wanted to marry.
Yeah.
Is that something that you can say? She may have liked some person, she may have wanted to marry and something very strong, but she ended up marrying. So they have after all.
Right. Whether she marries that person or not is a different thing. Based on the link between fifth house is basically the house of emotions, and Dharpada is the house of the people that you get to know. It is basically people that you know. And Venus is the planet who signifies romance. So when you have a link between Venus, fifth house and seventh pada, that shows basically falling in love. being romantic and being susceptible to falling in love. That's what it shows. And if the planets associated with these houses and Venus, if they are also associated with Upapada, then that can result in a marriage. That I didn't see, but if you see that now, this Venus is in the 8th house from Upapada. So it's not really strongly likely to give marriage. Upapada is in the 10th house and Moon is there. So you don't really, looking at that, you can't really conclude that she will marry the person that she falls in love with. But she is very likely to fall in love. Now, that is what you can conclude based on this. Now, the person that she wanted to marry, did she know, how long did she know that person?
2 years.
Pardon me?
2 years.
So she had a strong affair for a couple of years. Okay. Why I ask that is, when somebody comes to you and when they ask you to make predictions about marriage, you look at Upada in the Rashi chart, right? And in Navamsa you look at the 7th house. But if it's the second marriage, you see the 8th from there. We discussed it earlier in one of your sister's example. So Upada shows the first marriage, and 8th from Upada shows second marriage, and 8th from there shows third marriage, and so on. Similarly, the 7th house in Navamsa shows spouse, and the 8th from there, 8th from the 7th will show second spouse, and the 8th from there will show third spouse, and so on. You go on like that. And here, when I talk about marriage, even if there was no official marriage, there was no formal marriage, if a person was committed to another person and thought that and strongly wanted to get married and looked at that person as spouse, as potential spouse, as a fiancé for a long time, that itself is sufficient to make that a marriage, astrologically. Even though not in civil terms it's not a marriage, astrologically that will be a marriage. So UL will show a strong relationship, and the 8th from UL will show the second marriage. So if you want to make some conclusions about the husband, the person that she had affair with, the first affair with, that will be seen from Sagittarius. So if you want to draw any conclusions about that person, you use Sagittarius as Lagna in this Navamsa and take that as Lagna and look at how various planets are, and you draw some conclusions. For example, Jupiter is in the 2nd house. Even though he is debilitated, Jupiter is in the 2nd house, and Lagna is Sagittarius. Lagna being Sagittarius, can somebody give some readings for that?
He's really impressive, but he's still pious.
Okay. So righteous, but at the same time, very dynamic person. Okay. Do you know anything about the person? You don't have any clue, so that's not helpful. So let us leave that. But do you know anything about the husband?
Yes.
Okay. So let us leave the first person in her life and look at the second person, the person that she got married to. Now, which house will show that person in Navamsa? 8th from Sagittarius, 8th from the 7th house. So that is Cancer. So if you take Cancer as Lagna, excuse me, Cancer as Lagna, yes.
Why is in the first place saying the 7th house was the Sagittarius?
7th house is the house of husband in Navamsa.
Right.
Husband or wife. And always the 7th house will show the first husband or first spouse.
And you said,
if you are looking at UL in the Rashi chart, it doesn't show husband. It shows the marriage itself. It shows the relationship. But if you want to draw conclusions about the husband, is he an aggressive person? Is he a software engineer? Is he an intelligent person? Is he a pious person? If you want to make any conclusions about the husband, you have to look at Navamsa, and you have to take the 7th house for first husband. From the second husband onwards, see, all the husbands don't have to be similar. Somebody may be first married to a very mean person and then married to a very pious person. It is possible. It does happen to people.
no, the person is, you said if the affair was over a long period, then you would consider it astrologically as a first marriage itself.
Yes, that is why I took this Sagittarius as the first marriage. So I took the first affair as a marriage. And I am looking at the person that she had affair with. That person will be shown by Sagittarius. Because she had a long affair, that is equivalent to a marriage.
Where did you figure out the long effect from the last chart?
Oh, I didn't figure it out. I asked her. I didn't really figure that out. There are so that is your question. Okay. Sometimes you can conclude if the
So why that doubt has come to your mind? By looking at
okay, why that doubt has come to my mind is, see, if you look at the UL, the UL is basically marriage, and the second house from UL shows bringing of the marriage. The second has to be strong for the marriage to be brought about, and the ninth has to be strong. Ninth house is the protection, and here the ninth Upada has moon in it, but the ninth has Rahu, an enemy in it. So basically, ninth is basically the blessings, the fortune, the Purva Punya which is bringing the particular marriage. There is a lot of Purva Punya that you did, but there is some Purva Punya that brings a first affair, some Purva Punya that brings the first marriage, some Purva Punya that brings the second marriage, some Purva Punya that brings a particular job. So for each event in your life, there is certain Purva Punya that is triggering it. So the Purva Punya that could trigger the first marriage is Aquarius, which has Rahu in it. And that Rahu is inimical to Moon. So because of that, the Purva Punya is not really conducive to bringing that marriage. Bringing that marriage is represented by Moon, the second lord from the Upada, who is in Upada. So because of this enmity, I wasn't 100% sure if that marriage would have, basically there was an affair. Whether that affair could have culminated in marriage or not, I couldn't be very sure. There was some doubt in my mind. She already told that there was an affair, and she had to marry the person that her parents chose. But for all you know, that affair could be a 1 day or 1 week or 1 month affair, or it could be a long affair. Had it been a 1 month affair, then this Upada would have shown the marriage brought by parents. But because it's a long affair and also Rahu is there, Rahu is in the 9th house from that Upada, you can conclude that this marriage did not have the strength to be brought about. This particular relationship did not have the strength in it to blossom into a full marriage, a formal marriage. And Rahu in the 9th house can also show this is for some reason considered adharmic, because 9th house from the Upada shows the dharma of that marriage. Rahu being there, Rahu is the outcast. He shows breaking the dharma. So this particular marriage, or I will call it marriage even though it's not a civil marriage, this particular marriage was for some reason considered adharmic, not right, for some reason which we don't know. For some reason either parents or the society did not consider it right, appropriate. That is because of Rahu. So the second marriage will be shown by Capricorn. Okay? Now Capricorn has Venus in it, Sun in it, but Venus is strong. Its Lord is Shani, and the planet who brings it is Rahu, second house, second Lord. So Rahu and Shani are the planets who are bringing it, and the 9th house from that is Mercury. 9th Lord is Mercury. He is a friend of all of them. So this marriage has the strength to be brought about. Okay?
Venus is totally compass.
Yeah. Yes, Venus is compass. So actually, as a matter of fact, this marriage was not brought by Venus, but this marriage was brought by Saturn and Rahu, the second lords from Upada. Saturn and Rahu brought this marriage. And more than Rahu is in one house. When Rahu is in Aquarius, Lord of Aquarius is Saturn. When you choose the stronger of the co-lords, whichever planet is in that house, you ignore that planet and take the other one. So Saturn is the one who brought the marriage. What kind of marriage does Saturn bring? A love marriage? No. A very traditional marriage, arranged marriage. Saturn is the significator for traditional marriage. Saturn, Ketu, Jupiter, all these planets are traditional marriage planets. So anyway, leaving that aside, coming back to husband, the second husband or the second person in her life has to be from Cancer. Now, taking Cancer as Lagna, the Lagna Lord Moon is in the 12th house with Shani. What can you conclude about what is the basic conclusion you can draw about the nature of this person? Is he a very jolly type person, or is he very, very sensitive, very moody, and prone to being depressed?
very sensitive. Saturn, Moon together, Lagna.
Moon and Saturn together, basically Lagna Lord in the 12th house with Shani. Typically those people are suicidal, or if not suicidal, that may be a strong word, but prone to depression. Such people, they are They are also very sensitive. Even if Saturn was not with moon, just Cancer being the Lagna, you could conclude that the person will be very sensitive. Of course, looking at the Navamsa, when you talk about the spouse, you can't get 100% focus results. But overall, there will be some level of sensitivity. The person is not normal person in terms of sensitivity. He's not like everybody else. He is a little more sensitive.
He has moon in his 7th house. So that is
He does? Okay. Okay.
Mithuna Lagna.
Mithuna Lagna? Okay. Mithuna contains the Paka here. Moon is there, okay. But is he sensitive?
Yeah, very.
Very sensitive, okay. So that is what you can call. All other things, Mars is in the 2nd house, so very aggressive speaker. All those things you can say later. But one thing that you can directly say when you see Cancer, when you see Sagittarius, say that the person is righteous. When you see Aries, say that the person is very dynamic, very enterprising. Similarly, when you see Cancer, the person is very sensitive. So the second husband or the first real husband, he is a very sensitive person. That is one thing you can say. And Moon and Saturn, again, so based on it, you can say he is prone to depression. Does he have any tendency to be depressed? Or tendency to be sad and unhappy?
She is more depressed than him. Yeah.
Okay. You are saying that she is more depressed. Okay. Well, about her we will conclude later. Further, we just see Lagna. What is the impact of the marriage on her? How is her marital life? That you see from the Lagna. So that we will do later. But about him, I would expect him to be basically prone to depression, but you are not saying that.
She doesn't.
Okay, you don't know. Okay. Okay, let us leave that. Now, what is his job? What is his career?
His 10th house, if you look, Rahu.
Okay.
Rahu is in 10th
If
house.
you take the if you take Cancer and take the 10th house from there,
Rahu is in 10th house. So he's an engineer.
okay. What kind of engineer?
Mechanical.
Rahu. What kind of engineering does Rahu? Rahu and Mars are the planets. Okay. Okay. Good guess. I mean, you can't be more specific. You can't say he writes Java programs just based on her Navamsa. Even if you have that person's chart, look at their Dashamsa, you can only say maybe software engineer, hardware engineer, maybe design engineer, this kind of mechanical engineer, civil engineer.
Government organization.
No,
Mars is in Leo.
Yeah, so
Second Leo is from
10th Lord is in Leo, so it's a good guess, yeah. It's a good guess. But basically Sun is in the 9th house. Sun is in the 10th house from the 10th. Sun is in the 12th house from the 10th house. So Sun has no role to play. Had Sun had an Argala on the 10th house, then your guess would have been a good guess. Okay? Now, what else can you conclude?
Lagna and his Lagna is 2 and 12 from each other. That is showing clash.
Which Lagna? You mean Cancer and Gemini? That means always the second marriage should have clashes. Because always when you look at the second marriage, it will be in the 2nd house. So always it will be in Vidvasa. So that's not a logic. So there's no such thing. It's not because of that. There is some other reason for that. Definitely not that. Okay.
So he has Jupiter 7th house.
Okay, now let us see how her marital life is. Does she have a good marital life or an unhappy marital life? What do you take as Lagna to see her marriage, her existence in the marital life? Gemini itself, right?
Yeah.
So whether you are looking at first marriage or second marriage or third marriage, overall her marital life is shown by Gemini. Now,
7th Lord in 8th house is
7th Lord in 8th house is
in the manner, in the case of marital life.
yeah.
7th Lord in 8th house is this one.
Yes, that is so
After
relationship is a little bit strange, but that has more of an influence on the first relationship. 7th Lord being in the 8th house, that too in Nicha, it may show that the first marriage basically not being able to be brought about.
But that we already said. That's
See Lagna, yeah.
Yeah.
See Lagna. What are the influences on Lagna? Is Lagna strong? Who are in Lagna?
Saturn Saturn and Moon.
Moon and Shani. Is the combination of Moon and Shani a good combination?
Main to Moon.
It's a suicidal combination. Shani is, the Dharma Sthana Lord, Shani is in Manakaraka Sthana. Which means, in the marriage, there will be some breaking of Dharma. Dharma cannot be maintained. Moon is her Atmakaraka. Okay, we'll use that information later. But first, forget that. Lagna having Moon and Shani. What can you say about it? Moon and Shani. Moon is the planet of mind. Shani is the planet of sadness. When they are together, it gives a lot of sadness and it makes the person depressed. It is the combination for depression and also suicidal tendencies. If somebody comes to you with Moon and Shani in Lagna, not Navamsa Lagna, but just Rasi Lagna, be very careful with that person. Direct that person to a psychiatrist. Especially if the corresponding dashas are running, because that is a combination for suicidal tendencies. So here, Lagna has Moon and Shani in it. And that too, Shani is the 8th Lord, not only 9th Lord, but he is the 8th Lord. So because of that, this marriage, her marital life is not likely to be smooth. Her marital life will have lot of sadness and depression. Yes.
If we conclude that, we said March 93, so we conclude that we went, I think, tangentially from there.
From where?
We conclude that the existing situation can be continuing for marriage in 93. Or we were still fixing the norms?
I think
we were still fixing the norms and we didn't conclude. No, that makes sense,
I
right?
think people agree. You did not agree, but other people agree. And then we went on a tangent. Basically, Jupiter is the 7th Lord. And he is in Upada, in Rashi Jata also he is 7th Lord. So we concluded that Jupiter has the ability to give marriage. And then, so after doing that, we were
Looking for family.
we were basically looking for the qualities of the second husband. And also what is the impact of marriage on her. So if you do that, Moon and Shani in Lagna means lot of sadness in the marriage, lot of crying, lot of unhappiness, etc. Basically, Saturn makes you cry. Unhappiness, lot of planets can give, but Saturn makes you cry. He makes you so sad that you want to cry. You may even, if Saturn afflicts Moon and Lagna, you may even want to die. So that is the basically because of her Navamsa, basically because of her marriage. Had it been in Rashi chart, it would have been even worse. But because it's in Navamsa, this is only in marital life. If you look at the Dashamsa is reasonable. Dashamsa is quite strong. So she is, 9th Lord is in the 10th house, Moon is in the 3rd house. In profession she is a very strong lady. But in the, she is a lucky lady. But here unfortunately she is not very lucky. Because 9th is the house of fortune, 9th Lord is in Manakaraka Sthana, and Lagna and Moon are affected by the 8th Lord Shani, that too Shani. So, lot of sadness in marriage, it doesn't look good. Unfortunately, Lagna Lord can alleviate the unhappiness. Excuse me. Lagna Lord Nepri can alleviate, but where is he? Fifth house is good, but who is he with? Ketu. Ketu is the planet of dissipation, burning everything. And he is, as if that's not enough, his Karakatva itself is bad. As if that's not enough, he is the 6th Lord here. Excuse me. So 6th Lord, Lagna Lord and 6th Lord being together in the 5th house, does it show a lot of love? No. It shows a lot of fights. That shows a lot of quarrels, fights, etc. So it doesn't look good.
Then Navamsa is the only marriage to look at, and then what about the rest of the personality also it matters?
Yes.
Because it's also the basic foundation to your physical personality.
Right.
So this way, internally, you torture with Saturn and Moon, which has got mental pain and intelligence pain.
Yeah.
Because Saturn is reflecting. That should reflect also on the Rashi chart.
Yes, what you said is right. Navamsa is not just marriage. Marriage is one aspect of the Navamsa. Navamsa is basically the chart of your dharma. It is the pillar on which your rest of your existence stands. It is the dharma. It is your fortune. Based on all the punya that you did in your past life, the fortune that you are getting in this life is in Navamsa. And that stands, based on that fortune, you will be given certain abilities. Based on those abilities, you have certain dharma to fulfill in the society. So all your abilities, all your dharma, your dharmic life, everything comes out in Navamsa. So it's a very important chart. And in that chart, you have Jupiter in the 8th house and you have Shani in Manakara, 9th Lord in the Manakaraka Sthana. And Lagna Lord with Ketu is fine, but with the 6th Lord with Ketu. So because of it, internally she is very troubled. This is the chart of inner existence. Rasi is the chart of physical existence. But Navamsa is the chart of inner existence. This is the pillar of your entire existence. So basically she has a tormented inner self. That is what you can conclude from Navamsa. And about marriage, see, I haven't done Graha Rudhas. You asked whether she has a lot of problems because the Lagna of the spouse and her Lagna are in Vidvadasha, in her Navamsa, Cancer and Gemini. The thing is, the real technique, what you should really do is use the Graha Rudhas. There are, just like Bhava Rudhas that I showed you, there are so-called Graha Rudhas. So I'll show you. I will not tell you how to find them now, but I will just show you in the software. So standard view with Graha Rudhas. So instead of A1, A2, you see L1, L2 now. L5, L10. L5 means, A5, just like A5 means Arudha of the 5th house, L5 in my software basically stands for Arudha of the Lord of 5th house. So these are Arudhas of the Lords of individual planets. So houses show inanimate circumstances. And Arudhas of houses show tangible manifestations of those. And similarly, house lords, planets will show animate being, animation. Houses are basically inanimate. But planets are, they keep moving. So planets are animate. So they show manifestation. They show what is animation. When you are talking about Narasimha, when you are talking about a body, it may be inanimate. But there is certain force, certain life force within me. That life force is making me think, making me move, making me do things. So that life force is seen from house lords. So when you say, for example, the 7th house, or 4th house, let us say. 4th house is the house of assimilation of learning, assimilation of knowledge. It shows learning. 4th house is the house of learning. It only shows the inanimate circumstance of learning. And A4 shows the tangible manifestation of that. What are you learning? What books are you learning? Which place are you going to learn? So all these tangible manifestations relating to learning are from A4. Now the 4th Lord, what is 4th Lord? 4th Lord is the engine that is driving that learning, the life force behind that learning. So there is certain brain, there is certain intelligence within me. That intelligence is being applied towards learning. So that application of my intelligence towards learning is shown by the 4th Lord. So all the house lords are application of intelligence to that house activity. So that is Narayana. That is, all grahas are basically Narayana. The intelligence is Narayana. And similarly take 7th Lord. What does 7th Lord show? It shows application of intelligence towards relationships. So that is it my intelligence or my wife's intelligence? Is it the life force within my wife or within me? Which one is it? The 7th Lord, does it show the intelligence within me or intelligence within my wife? Both are the same. If you think that the intelligence, the life force within me and the life force within somebody else that I am interacting with, if you think that they are different, you are in the world of Maya. In the world of Satya, because we are not talking about Arudhas now, we are talking about the Lord himself, house lords. When you talk about houses and house lords, you are talking about Satya, truth, the permanent reality. When you are talking about Arudhas, you are talking about what rises and what manifests in the world of Maya. Then you are talking about illusion. When you are talking about Satya, the intelligence within me that is being applied towards my own learning, the intelligence within my Guru that is being applied towards my own learning, they are not two different things. We are in the illusion and we think that they are different, but they are the same Narayana. Narayana is Satya, but Lakshmi is Maya. Shiva is Satya, but Parvati, Shakti is Maya. So the same Shiva is within all of us. So when you are looking at 7th Lord, don't think that it is your intelligence. It is your wife's intelligence also. It is the intelligence of Kiran. It is the intelligence of Keshugaru. So all these intelligences which seem to be different are basically one and the same, the universal intelligence. So each house lord is the universal intelligence that is applied to the matters of that particular house. through that person or other people in the world. Is that clear? It is tough to, it is a concept that is tough to understand. The thing is, when each person is created, there is certain intelligence within us. That intelligence is basically the God. And that God within you and within me and within everybody, it is the same. It is not, if you look at it as different parts of the same thing, that is also wrong. It is the same. It is part and whole of the same God. Okay? But the thing is, because the Divine Mother has created this illusion of this particular existence is a separate person called Sri Ram. This separate existence is a separate person called Narasimha. This separate existence is a separate person called Rao Garu. Like that, you have these separations. This separation comes from Maya. So, when you look at the house lord's Arudha, that shows the manifestation of that intelligence as a separate person.
So you think that Lord is transforming himself into Narasimha intelligence, although a universal source.
Universal source.
Just that part has got a different flavor to it.
So that particular flavor, that particular part that is tangible to you is from the Arudha of the Lord, house Lord. So house Lord's Arudha is individual person. So each house Lord shows a particular person or a particular set of persons. But house Lord himself shows the universal intelligence being applied to that particular house.
But when Mars is Mars, irrespective of what it is, Jupiter is Jupiter, irrespective of what it is.
Yeah.
The manifestation of Jupiter in you is different from the manifestation of Jupiter.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So, if you want to do that, so now, if you want to see the particular spouse shown by this house, see the Arudha of the Lord of that house.
Okay. So the Lord of the house is Moon.
L2.
Pardon me?
L2.
L2. So you look at L2. Where is L2?
Third house.
It's here. So that particular person it is seen from here. The actual person. And now, where is L1? L1 is the Haron Arudha. That is how she manifests as a separate thinking person in her marital life.
Will it be different in D9 and D1?
Yes, it will be different. In D9, this is the manifestation of the person as a separate thinking and feeling person in marital life. In Dasamsa, it is manifestation of the person as a separate thinking and feeling person in professional life. Arudha Lagna is again different. Arudha Lagna is inanimate. It's not your manifestation, it's status. It's not manifestation as a thinking and feeling person. It's manifestation as a circumstance. Manifestation as a situation. It's your manifestation as a lucky person or as an unlucky person, as a well-known person. But your manifestation as an intelligent person, as a pious person, that should be ideally, even though we have been using Arudha Lagna to make those conclusions, wherever thinking, feeling, intelligence is involved, it should be seen from the Lord, planets rather than houses. So that should be seen from the Graha Arudha. Okay? So now, L1 is in Aquarius and L2 is in Leo. Now, what is the relationship between those two houses?
That opposing house. Seventh house.
Opposing is not really a strong logic. Seventh house can be still good. It's basically a Kendra, right? We don't say opposition in Vedic astrology. In Vedic astrology, seventh house is a good relationship. But that's not the point. Who are the last of those two houses? One is Shani, one is Sun. So one is the king and one is the poor servant, poor laborer. She is the poor laborer and he is the king basically, and they don't get along well. Sun and Saturn are worst enemies. They don't like each other. They hate each other. So because of that, this relation, that is the reason the relationship is a strained relationship with the second husband. It's not because Cancer and Gemini are in Dvadasha, which is the case for everybody. Okay?
What would you suggest to her in this case?
For me?
What would be the advice when the person comes to you?
It's tough. In some cases there are,
Do you offer any...
I understand, I'll come to that. In some cases there are slightly negative influences. So I just suggest some pujas and things will be solved. In some cases there are very strong negative influences. And in those cases there is not really much you can do. See what I'm saying? Here, the chart itself, Moon and Saturn being in the Lagna, the chart itself has a lot of weakness, and as if that is not sufficient, you have these L1 and L2 in Sun and Saturn houses, and you see that when you look at the husband, you see that husband is a very selfish person. The Paka has Shani for him. He's a very selfish person. There are several negative indications which I will not go into right now because I want to wrap up in the next 2-3 minutes. But things are quite bad. What you can advise in such a case is, pardon me?
Praying Venkateshwara on Saturday.
Why?
Because Saturn is being like uplifting her. At least come out from the problems. I mean, instead of going to the problem.
See, what I would do in this case is, you can give mantra for Upada. You can tell her to fast. Upada is in Gemini, right? The second Upada is in, basically second marriage is in Capricorn. So, the second lord from Capricorn is Saturn. And Saturn shows some form of Narayana, and Rahu is also there in that house, so we can go with Varaha Avatar or Venkateshwara. So you can tell her to pray to Venkateshwara and fast on Saturday, because second Upada is in a Shani Sthana, is in a house owned by Shani. To protect the second marriage, she can pray to Saturn. She can fast on Saturday to her maximum ability. If she can't fast completely, then eat fruits and milk, etc. But fasting on Saturdays, and at the end of the Saturday, praying to Balaji, praying to Venkateshwara, that should bring some relief and that should keep the marriage intact. So that is one thing that you can advise. But the thing is, in such a marriage, keeping the marriage intact is not the most important thing. Of course, as an astrologer, you should never advise somebody to get a divorce and go for the next marriage. You should never do that. That is not good karma.
So the next question I will ask.
Pardon me?
The next question I will ask.
Yeah.
If you think that
Actually, there was only one case where I told the person to go for divorce, because this is much better actually. In that particular case, it was so hopeless. The person is a total cheat. He's not interested in marriage to a woman, but still he got married to that woman. He gave her a hell of a time. He was a very selfish person. And even though it was bad karma on my part to break a marriage, there was only one case where I told the lady to go for divorce. Because she comes from a very pious family, and she was tormented. She didn't want to get divorced. At the same time, she was having a hell of time. And there was one case where I told the person to go and get divorced, but usually we don't do that. As astrologers, it is not good on our part to advise divorce. And in any case, this case is not really that bad.
So my question is, he's staying here in the US.
Yeah.
She's in India.
It's better.
For 4.5 years.
Yeah.
So whether in US future
We will look at that, but let me complete the thought on remedial measures. What I will advise is, she needs to have some sukha, some comfort, some peace, mental peace, right, from her marital life. So for that, what is the house? Fourth house is the house of mental comfort, peace. And the fourth lord, Mercury, is unfortunately conjoining the sixth lord, Ketu. That is why Ketu is basically Rudra Swarupa. And especially when he owns the sixth house, he will not give comfort at all. So in this chart, there is no comfort. Marital life is full of discomfort, full of unhappiness. So to bring any level of comfort to her, you have to strengthen Mercury. And you have to appease Ketu. You have to make Ketu more relaxed, slow down Ketu. So you have to pray to Mercury and Ketu. So which is the god you pray?
Mercury for Vishnu.
Mercury shows Vishnu, Ketu is Ganesha. So if he prays to Ganesha, Lord Ganesha, if he prays to Ganesha, pardon me?
On Monday.
Perhaps on Fridays, because they are in Libra, in Navamsa. If she prays to Ganesha and then Vishnu on Fridays, that will bring some relief in her marital life, some comfort. That is the most important thing. Whether she comes and joins him here or not, whether she stays there, whether she gets divorced, whether this marriage continues, all these are secondary things. The primary thing is happiness, relief, mental relief. So that will be given by Ganesha and Vishnu.
So fasting on Wednesday will work that way, is being Mercury as well as the UL being in Gemini?
Yeah, but that is the first UL. The second UL is in Capricorn.
8 from the first.
If when she was in love and when she wanted to get married to that person, if she fasted on Wednesday and prayed to Shiva, or Krishna, moon.
Yeah.
Second Lord is moon, and moon in Vedic sign shows Krishna. So if she fasted on Wednesdays and at the end of the day prayed to Krishna, that marriage may have actually come about. Instead of being broken by parents, she may have actually succeeded in marrying that guy. But for now, with this marriage, either to get married to the second person or to continue that marriage, the advice will be to fast on Saturdays and pray to Venkateshwara, Balaji.
But I still have a question.
Which question?
Didn't understand clear. Here, though physically the first marriage happened, we are considering this as a...
Though physically first marriage did not happen actually.
No, it did not happen. Okay.
Yeah.
In society, this is the first marriage.
Yeah.
And we are
But astrology doesn't bother about that.
It's 2 years of a strong relationship is good enough to take it.
Basically, what is UL? It's not tying a knot. UL is commitment. UL is the Arudha of the 12th house, giving. It's basically the manifestation of the giving. It's basically a commitment, a tangible commitment.
No, that is because we asked
If you-
then said yes, there was a relationship for 2 years.
You have to ask. Especially when there is a doubt. When there is a doubt about whether the first UL has the strength to result in a long relationship or not, you should ask. I have seen several examples where all the analysis done based on Upada was totally nonsense. When you ask the person, when I got doubt, based on the Upada, I was expecting marriage at a certain time and I was expecting certain characteristics for the spouse and they were not, nothing was coming through. And then I asked the person, did you have an affair in 94, at the end of 94? He said, yes, I had a strong affair. So like that, you have to ask. Not only when you are seeing wife, when you see Saptamsa, when you see children of the person. See, when you see Saptamsa, do you remember the rules? How do you see the first child? See here, if you want to see the first child, how do you see it? This is even sign, Cancer is even sign. So you count backwards, and the fifth lord will give the first child. So, fifth lord is, does she have any children?
Yes, she has 2 kids. One pregnancy she lost, the first pregnancy.
She lost the first pregnancy. Okay. This is basically after marriage. Okay. Okay. Now,
This is the fifth lord is Jupiter.
fifth lord is Jupiter.
Jupiter becomes the Lagna. Then Sagittarius is the Lagna for the first child.
Yeah.
No, we actually went through Rahu. We went past Rahu. Was going to the fifth house.
Yeah.
Does it mean
No, it doesn't mean anything. You start from the fifth house. After that, you have to cross Rahu.
after that?
Yes. So first child will be given by Jupiter, but the Jupiter is with Ketu.
So because of that he died.
So can you actually, when the planet is with Ketu, that too in the 6th house, it is even possible that there may not be any pregnancy at all. A particular pregnancy may not have happened. So that, and if you look at the second one, Saturn. Saturn is with Rahu. Again, do you expect that? Do you expect the?
No, right? Because Rahu destroyed it. So that too, both male and female.
Why does Rahu destroy it?
When I thought Rahu is the termination of pregnancy.
Yeah.
So I presume with Rahu there.
But that pregnancy will survive.
Oh,
Because Shani and Rahu are friends. Rahu doesn't do anything to Shani. So that pregnancy will prevail, but the next child doesn't make sense. Does it make sense? Because you have to cross over Ketu.
Right.
Right?
Jupiter is there.
Yeah?
It can pull it.
She has 2 children.
Yeah, but does it make full sense?
No.
Okay. The rule is, when you look at the Saptamsa, if there was 2 marriages or 2 relationships, you have to see the children from the 2 relationships separately. The first relationship you see from the normal 5th house. The normal thing that we do is for the first marriage. For the second marriage and third marriage onwards, the rule is different. It works like this. The 7th house shows the marriage, and the 5th house shows the fruits of marriage, 11th from 7th. So it is the gains that you get from the marriage. That is why 5th house will show children. But when you are talking about the second child, where is the second child from? It's not the fruits of this marriage. It's the fruits of next marriage, the next relationship, the next commitment. So you see the second house. 8th from 7th is second house. So Leo or Cancer is the Lagna here in Saptamsa. Leo is the second house. So this shows the second marriage. And now when you see odd or even, I always told you to see the oddity of the Lagna, but the actual rule is see the oddity of the 7th house. So the 7th house is odd or even. Based on that you count backwards or forward. And here, and always when you are looking at 7th house, 7th and 1st house have the same oddity. If 1st house is odd, 7th house is also odd. If 1st house is even, 2nd house is odd, 7th house is also even. But when you see the second marriage, it changes. Here, even though Lagna is even, the second house Leo is odd. So counting is forward. So you take the 11th house from it, forward counting. So Gemini, Gemini is what shows the first child.
Forward.
Yeah, forward. You count the 11th from this, forward. So Gemini will show the, Leo will show the second marriage. Gemini will show the first child from that marriage. The first fruit. 11th from Leo, that is Gemini. We are counting forward because Leo is there. Leo is odd. So the first child will be, pardon me?
Why 11th house? The first child it is 5th house.
No, backward is 11th.
It was 5th because it was 11th from 7th.
Oh, okay.
Here it is 11th from 2nd because 2nd is the house of marriage here, not 7th. Okay?
So the gains of the marriage is the 11th house. That's why you look at the first child, the gains of the marriage.
Yeah, first child is, children are the gains of marriage and first child is the first gain. After that we do the Manduka progression. Every third, basically sibling, younger brother, younger child. Okay, so the first child will be given by Mercury. The Gemini Lord is Mercury. He is in Aries. Right? So, the first child is basically likely to have a strong either Martian influence in the chart or Mercurian influence.
Lagna is Aries.
See, her the first child Lagna is Aries. So, and there may be some influence of Mercury also. Some strong, there may be a strong Mercury in the chart also.
Second house.
Okay. He is in the second house. Okay. But if you look at all the Vargas, etc., is Mercury standing out as an important planet? Check that later. First, he is in the second house. Mercury in the second is auspicious. It's a Rajoga. So Mercury has Argada and Lagna. But bottom line is, either Mercury or Mars should have a strong influence in the chart of that child. The child happens to have Aries Lagna. Okay. On the other hand, had we blindly ignored the first marriage and taken this for the pregnancy lost and this for the first child that survived, we would have got Shani and Rahu in Lagna, we would have got Gemini, etc. We wouldn't have got that person. Whatever readings we give are totally wrong. They are bogus readings. Now, the second child will be given by, you have to take the third from there. So third from this is Leo. Right?
Yeah.
So who is that? For me? Actually, we made a mistake. We said there was an abortion, right?
Yeah. The first
Okay, we made a mistake. We made a big mistake. So why was there an abortion? First child, Mercury could not give the child. Why was there an abortion?
Rahu and Saturn.
Yeah.
Mercury is in
So first child from the second marriage should be given by Gemini. And Gemini gave a pregnancy loss. Is it possible?
Is there any influence of the Graha is Jupiter, Ketu is
Yeah. Shani and Rahu are there. The 8th Lord Shani and Rahu are in that house. So that there is a chance of pregnancy being lost. So if this person came to you just after marriage, when no pregnancy was lost, then you can tell them to propitiate Mercury. Basically, if Mercury is strong, because Mercury's agenda is to bring the child, and Shani and Rahu are basically spoiling that, are working against it. So, if you basically advise her to pray to Vishnu, Mercury is basically Vishnu. If you advise her to pray to Vishnu, then the first child from the second marriage would have survived. But because of Shani and Rahu, these things you can't be 100% sure. If you saw this chart, you couldn't be 100% sure that there will be a pregnancy loss. For all you know, she could have got a child also. But Shani and Rahu basically prevailed in the end. You could have told her to propitiate Mercury. And now Shani and Rahu gave the pregnancy loss. Now let us correct our analysis. The second child, which is the first survived child, that will be seen from
Venus and Sun.
Leo.
Leo. Yeah.
Venus and Sun. Is it a boy or girl? Girl. Okay. I remember. Somehow I thought it was a girl. That's why I was looking at Mercury there. Mercury in Aries should have given a boy. I don't know if he said a girl or not, but I somehow thought it was a girl. I also said her when I was saying a sentence. I was wondering why there was a girl, and then I remember that we made a mistake. We left the abortion. Now, if the second child is given by Sun, will it be a boy or girl?
It's a boy.
Why?
I thought it's
Odd sign.
masculine.
Odd sign will be a boy, but we should look at the planet first. That was our rule. Should we look at Sun or Venus?
Venus is compassed.
You are doing too advanced analysis. You don't do all that. What you do is, see the planet, the lord of that particular house. Who is he with? Don't see that planet. Who is he with? Look at them. Then if there is a tie, then look at who he is, and also the sign. So here, there is only one planet with Sun, Venus. And Venus will show a girl. And then, the next child.
Third house from there.
The next child will be the third from there. That is Libra. The Lord is
Venus.
Venus. So,
He is with the Sun. No? That's your boy.
there should be a boy. Is it a boy? So your prediction is right. Yeah, good.
Predicted from the second is the first.
So the first child is basically a daughter given by Venus, second is son given by Sun. And if you want to give readings to those children, now we are deviating a little bit, but let us just finish the thought. If you want to give readings to those children, some readings, how will you give them?
Both of them is
Lord of their
Lagna.
house as the Lagna, right?
Pardon me?
Both of them, that's the Lagna is Leo. Because
Leo.
of Venus and Sun.
Yeah.
So that means,
First, give for the first child, daughter.
right,
What kind of husband will she get when she grows up?
7th house.
Not seventh house.
Upapada.
You are forgetting.
Upapada.
Yes. For the children, for children's spouses, you see the Upada from that house. So Upada from Leo is
Lagna.
basically the Arudha of this sign, Lagna. So let me change back to normal Arudhas. Oops. Yeah. So AL is in Taurus. So what kind of husband? Will he be very sensitive? No.
No.
Totally not sensitive. Very practical, very pragmatic,
Uttava.
hardworking. Yeah. Taurus is hardworking, very committed, very pragmatic, practical. That is Taurus. But not very talkative. Shani and Rahu in the second house. Not a very talkative person. And very knowledgeable person and spiritual person. Because 5th Lord Mercury is in the 12th house. 5th Lord in the 12th house means a lot of occult knowledge and very pious person. And Jupiter, Moon and Ketu in the 8th house. What does it mean? Jupiter and Ketu in the 8th house. What would you say? What? Some occult knowledge.
All knowledge strong.
Yeah. Could be an astrologer, could have some astrological knowledge or palmistry or numerology or some knowledge.
Fifth house moon would show that.
Pardon me?
That moon in fifth house will show it.
Sure what?
So occult knowledge is.
Occult knowledge is basically from the 8th house. Moon in 5th house will show knowledge of Sankhya Shastra, knowledge of Sankhya, etc. For astrological knowledge, Jupiter, Ketu, Mercury, these are the planets, and the house is 8th house. 5th house is overall scholarship. And you see, and like that you can give readings for that particular child. Now, the question is, will it be the same for second child also? Because the Paka is in the same house. The rule is when Paka falls in the same house, a house that is already taken, you don't take the Paka, you take the sign. For the first child, or first survived child, we got Leo and Sun Lord was right there, so we took Leo as the Lagna. That was the Paka and we took that as the Lagna. For next child, we go to Libra, we take Venus, but Venus is in a sign that is already covered.
Covered because of the first Paka.
First Paka. So when two Pakas are together, or three Pakas are together, for the second and third, you don't take the Paka, you take the sign itself. That is the rule. That is the rule from the Parampara tradition. I don't know how accurate it is, but it does work in several cases. I don't know the logic behind it though.
That means you have to take Libra.
Libra itself. So if you take Libra itself, what kind of spouse will that sun get? So A3. If you look for Arudha of this house, which is the 12th from Libra, so A3. Where is A3? Scorpio. So what will you conclude? Somebody who is very secretive, somebody who is very passionate. Jupiter and Ketu are in the 2nd house. So somebody who is very talkative, has patavak, very clear speech, very talkative. And what else? Mercury in the 7th house. So good in dealing with other people. Sorry, Mercury in the 6th house. Okay, so that's not that great. Saturn and Rahu in the 8th house. Always look at things that from which you can give clear readings. Shani and Rahu in the 8th house. What can you say based on it?
No problem. We try that.
You wish.
No, but
Shani and Rahu in the 8th house is terrible. Shani in the 8th house will show a lot of suffering, lot of hard work in life. The person will be working hard throughout his life.
But I said Rahu and Ketu, whichever house they're in, they'll destroy that.
That's true, but when the house is bad, they also know how to promote that house so that you suffer. They know how to give you suffering basically. Their agenda is to give you suffering.
So irrespective of
Rahu in 8 is very bad.
Yeah, but they're in Gustana, right? So it's not too negative.
malefic in Gustana, I thought is almost.
No, not 8th house. 8th house is not a Dusthana. Who told you that it's a Dusthana, but it's not a malefic house. 6th house is a malefic house. But 8th is not a malefic house, it's a neutral house. If you look at malefic and neutral houses, 8th house is a neutral house. Rahu in the 6th is good. There you are right. For Rahu and Ketu, there are only 3 houses that are good. Can somebody tell me? Third is? No. 12th is terrible for Rahu. Again, 12th is not a Papasthana. See, there are Papasthanas. Those are 3, 6, 11. The so-called Dusthanas, 6, 8, 12, they are Dusthanas, but they are not Papasthanas. So for those houses, if you have a malefic, it's not always good. If you have Mars in 8th house, that's terrible. That gives short life. If you have Rahu in 12th house or Shani in 12th house, that gives lot of suffering throughout the life. If you have Rahu in the 8th house, that gives lot of shocks in life. Terrible shocks. If Shani is also there. Pardon me? 3, 6, 11. 3, 6, 10, 11 are Upasayas. So you grow through Papasthanas basically. Upasayas are the houses of accumulation, houses of growth. And it is interesting that the 3 Papasthanas, 3, 6 and 11 are part of the Upasayas, 3, 6, 10 and 11. 10 is the additional house, 10 is karma. So you grow either through the papas or you grow through karma. Now, remember this, in any chart, Shani, Rahu, Ketu, Mars, for these planets, only 3, 6, 11 are good houses. Any other house is bad.
In this case, Saturn is in Yogakaraka, so Yogakaraka being in the 8th house.
Oh, Yogakaraka for who?
For second person.
Why?
Libra's
Oh, we are talking about the house now. For him, Shani and Rahu are not in the 8th house. For Libra, Shani and Rahu are not in the 8th house, they are in the 9th house. We are talking about Scorpio, the spouse of the second child. For her, Shani and Rahu are in the 8th house. And for her, it's quite bad. So basically, she will be somebody, the second child will get married to some girl who has seen lot of suffering in life, who has seen lot of shocks, more than her share of shocks in life. That is what you can conclude from Shani and Rahu. Okay? Now let us conclude. We have gone too long today. Let us conclude. But you want to see how the current dashas are. You want to see how long has he been separate?
4 years. That means
They are
2000.
not separated.
I mean, living separately. Yeah.
From 2004.
Okay. So, the dasha is Mercury dasha. Is Mercury Dasha a good Dasha? Is Mercury Dasha a good Dasha in marital life?
Not really. Ketu.
He is with Ketu. It's not really a good Dasha. But especially when Mercury Dasha, Ketu under Dasha comes, it can be bad. 96, 97 can be, it can be the trigger of the quarrels, fights, etc. So Mercury Ketu is the trigger, and then Mercury Venus. Venus is slightly better, but right now she is running. Right now she is running Rahu Dasha. Okay. How is Rahu Dasha? Mercury Rahu. I want somebody to volunteer. First look at the bhoga. Where is the bhoga? From Mercury, Rahu is in the 7th house. From Rahu, 7th house is 5th house. So normally 5th house is good, but the planets there are 6th lord and Lagna lord. So there is some protection. It's not a period. Basically, had Mercury not been there, had only Ketu been there, it could be the period of separation also, because Ketu's agenda is separation. Ketu normally wants people to get married, get children, and then get separated and go towards moksha. That is what Ketu wants by default. And when he is also the 6th lord of breaking the marriage, loss of marriage, he is only too eager to push that agenda, make that happen.
How will, if you look at the 5th house from the Lagna, how will the 5th house affect?
5th house is basically the house of emotions, house of feelings. And because this is Navamsa, this is the house of feelings as far as marital life is concerned. So Mercury and Ketu being there, Mercury being Lagna Lord, he gives some hope. He gives some positive spirit. Maybe things will work out, that kind of thinking. That is what Mercury will give. And Ketu will give disgust, desire to basically break it, cut it off. That is what Ketu will give. So Mercury and Ketu there in Libra makes Libra the sign of balancing those two emotions and somehow getting along. So during this particular Antardasha, Rahu Antardasha, is there any chance of getting together again?
Rahu is actually the Lord of the 9th house.
Yeah?
He's in 11th house.
Yeah?
That means his protection, his agenda is also to protect the marriage.
Yes. Yes.
Change in marriage.
Right. And he's in the 11th house. For marriage, Kamatrikonas are important, and 11th house is the house of gains. So Rahu is the 9th lord, he is in the house of gains, having Agala and Lagna, having Labha Agala and Lagna. So, because of that, during Rahu Antardasha, there will be work towards protecting the marriage and getting the marriage basically back on legs. So there is chance during the Rahu Antardasha. And to be more clear, let us look at the annual Tithi Pravesh chart. So 2004 chart is almost over. So let us look at 2005 Tithi Pravesha chart. So who is the Hora Lord for this year?
Mercury.
Mercury is the Hora Lord. And how is Mercury placed? In the Rasi chart, yes, go ahead.
Rasi is in 5th house. He's the Lord of the 2nd house and 11th house.
Lord of the
2nd house and 11th house.
Yeah.
And he's placed in the 5th house. I think
Yeah.
also
And 5th Lord is in 2nd house. So there is a Parivartana between 2nd Lord and 5th Lord. And it's not really a Rajoga between 5th and 2nd Lord, but it's a good combination. And as far as emotions are concerned, 5th house is the house of emotions. Emotions, especially relating to family life, are concerned. The indications are good during the coming year. And look at the Navamsa, because that is the key. In Navamsa, how is Mercury? He is the Lagna Lord in the 4th house of comfort. And is he well placed there or is he badly placed? He is well placed. For Mercury, 4th house is a good placement. Right? And Venus is in the 3rd house. Is that good or bad? For Venus, 3rd house is a good house. For Venus, actually, many houses are good houses. But 3rd is particularly a good house. It's the house of cheerfulness, house of initiative. If Venus is there, there will be optimism. There will be cheerful. There will be some cheer in marital life. The only negative indications are
Sun are in 8th house.
7th and 8th houses are full of negative disturbances. 7th house has 8th Lord Mars, which shows danger of basically danger of some tension in the marriage, and Sun and Rahu, they are eclipsing the 8th house. So 7th and 8th houses are quite weak, but the Hora Lord is Mercury. So, and he is well placed. He is associated with Lagna and he is well placed. So even though there will be some disturbances, this year is a good year. And how is Jupiter placed? Because we saw that Mercury and Jupiter have a Parivartana in Rashi chart. So it will be interesting to see how they are placed in Navamsa. Because, look at it this way, Hora Lord is basically like the king for the year. The Hora Lord is the ruler of the year. The Lord of the Hora running when the year started. He is the king of the year, and all other planets, everybody has his own agenda. Every planet has a specific agenda. Only those agendas will be advanced, which belong to planets who are in the who the ruler basically favors. There may be a lot of people in a kingdom, but only those that are close to the king, they will be able to get their jobs done. So whichever planets are well placed from the Hora Lord and have a good relationship with the Hora Lord, they will be able to advance their cause. And look at Jupiter. He has a Parivartana with Mercury. So it is like he has a special relationship with Mercury. He is in a Kendra from Mercury and he has a Parivartana. So as a result, Jupiter will be able to advance his agenda fully during the year. Both Mercury and Jupiter, their agendas will be advanced fully. And now what are those agendas? Are they good or bad? In the Navamsa, is Jupiter well placed or badly placed? For me?
12th house of giving.
Yeah. Is it good or bad?
Yeah, that's good for marriage, I think.
Good. Yeah. Is he Badhaka? Is he Badhaka Lord? For Vishwaha Rasi, 7th house is Badhaka Sthana. If Badhaka Lord is in the 12th house, is it good or bad? It's excellent. For Badhaka Lord, the only house that is good is 12th house. And he is in that house. What does it show? Not giving up, but basically getting rid of Badha. All the worries, unspoken worries that basically don't have any explanation, inexplicable worries that she is going through in the marital life will basically disappear. Don't take it literally, because Tithi Pravesh is only for 1 year. And this has to be superimposed on top of what the natal chart shows throughout the life. This is only 1 year chart. So don't take it too literally, but definitely during this year, during the year that's going to start on January 24, there should be some relief from the troubles that she has gone through, that she is going through. And especially it is likely to happen in Jupiter Dasha. Whenever Jupiter Dasha comes, there should be some relief. There should be some, and that relief involves giving up something. Jupiter is in the 12th house of giving up. So there will be some compromise. There will be some compromise for her, and as a result of that compromise, there will be some happiness. Overall, compared to the last few years, my judgment is this year will be a much better year. And Dashas, if you look at the Dashas, let's look at Tithi Ashtotri Dasha. So February 20 to April 28, this is a very auspicious time. So during February-April time frame, if she can basically approach the problems with an optimistic spirit and with basically let her take a fresh look at things. Not until then. Shani, for example, is not that good. So wait till February 20 and then take a fresh look at things. And then she will be in the right frame of mind to make the right decisions. And one advice I will give her is, she is living in India, right? On January 24 at 8:30 p.m. You may want to write it down. January 24, 8:30 p.m. That is when her new year starts. That is the time of exact birthday, her lunar Tithi-based birthday. That is exactly when the new year starts. So at that time, if she prays to Vishnu, if she reads Vishnu Sahasranamam, it will be very auspicious. That year there will be blessings of Vishnu during that year. Basically, you are making the king happy when the year is starting. He is the king of the year, basically. And if you pray to Vishnu, Mercury will be happy. So either pray at home or go to a temple and get a puja done. Get some puja done for Vishnu. Actually, Lakshmi Narayana. Because Mercury is with Venus in the Rasi chart. So if she can pray to Lakshmi Narayana during that time, this will be a very good year for her. So if you have any more queries on this, we will see it in the next class. We will conclude for this class. All the best to her. God bless her. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.